Hey guys, how are you all? I hope you all are doing well. Today we are going to see an amazing what-if story. But before we start, it's just a humble request that if you are new here, please subscribe because it actually motivates me a lot to post more. Also, the stories on my channel are fully written by me, so if you have any suggestions for what-if stories, please let me know below the comment section. Now, without any further delay, let's start. What if Harry Potter was Reincarnation of Salazar Slytherin? Harry fell. There was no floor, no ceiling, just a pressure that crushed in from every side. His head hurt so much he could not even scream. The pain sat right in his scar and pushed down through his eyes, his teeth, his chest. He tried to pull in a breath. Nothing moved. Then the dark around him shifted. It was not empty anymore. A second presence pushed into the space that was supposed to be his mind. It was old, heavy. It felt like someone had poured another person straight into him, and there was no room for both. Harry choked on air that was not there. Who are you? The voice was inside him. Calm, male, deep. It did not echo. It just existed. Harry tried to think the word back. Me. I am me. I am Harry. There was a pause. He could feel the other presence look at him, even though there were no eyes here. Harry Potter, the child with the mark. So that is what they call my vessel. Vessel. The word made his stomach twist. Get out, he thought. He wanted to curl up, but his body did not seem to exist. Only the pain did. The other presence pushed deeper. Memories flickered. Harry saw flashes that were not his. Stone walls lit by torches. A long hall with 4 empty chairs. A green banner that moved in a draft he could not feel on his skin. A woman with long dark hair arguing in a language he did not know. Her hands tight on the back of a chair. Then a different image slammed through all of that. Green light. His mother screaming. Cold laughter that made his chest clamp up. The nursery walls. The crib. His own baby hands. The old presence went very still. That thing again, the voice said. Something cold stirred near his scar. It did not feel like the old presence. It felt sticky and wrong. Like something rotten stuck to his skin. It pushed back at the pressure of the other voice and hissed wordless anger. Harry jerked. Now he could feel his body. Sheets under his fingers. Rough cotton. Sweat on his neck. His heart hammered so fast it hurt. His scar burned. The rotten thing inside the scar clawed at him. It did not speak, but he could feel what it wanted. To hold on. To stay. To spread. The older voice laughed. It was not kind. So this is what the boy carried. A cheap copy. A torn scrap. He sounded insulted. On my work. On my line. Harry did not understand most of that, but he could feel the anger that came with it. It was cold and controlled in a way that made his own temper look like nothing. The old presence turned toward the sticky shard. Harry felt the shift like someone turning their head next to his ear. Leave, the voice said. The thing in the scar pushed back. A spike of hatred and hunger. His head felt like it would split. Harry tried to reach up with his hand to tear the scar off his face. But his arm would not move. He could still feel the old presence though, and that presence began to work. Harry had no words for the magic he felt. It was not the way spells felt when he waved a wand and hoped. This was tight, layered, certain. Lines of power wrapped around the rotten shard like bands of iron, pulling tight, tighter, until the thing inside his scar shrieked. Harry heard it even though there was no sound. His vision filled with images again. A man with pale skin and red eyes. A ring with a dark stone. A cup. A locket. A snake. A laughing boy in a school robe. The same boy, older, holding out his hand to someone Harry could not see. Then the bands tightened one more time. The shard tore apart. White pain ripped through his head. He gasped in the real world and his back arched off the bed. Something hot ran down his forehead and into his eye. He tried to raise his hand again, and this time his fingers twitched and caught the side of his face. They came away wet. The old voice spoke again, flat and satisfied. Crude work. Amateur. He thought that would bind my line. Harry tried to breathe. Air rasped into his lungs. The dark in his mind thinned. He could feel a real pillow under the back of his head now and the faint smell of potions. Hospital wing, the older voice noted. He sounded bored. Harry blinked. Light stabbed his eyes. The ceiling over him was white stone. Somewhere nearby a glass bottle clinked softly. He knew that sound. Madame Pomfrey tidying her supplies. His chest still hurt, but there was no iron band around it now. Only a dull ache. The old presence did not fade. It settled instead, like someone sitting in a chair that had always been theirs. Harry swallowed. His throat was dry. "Who are you?" he thought again. This time his own voice came out clearer. The answer came at once. "Salazar Slytherin." Harry froze. Every bit of him went cold. He knew that name. Everyone did. One of the 4 founders. The one Slytherin house was named for. The one every story blamed for the hate and the snakes and all the talk about pure blood. "You are not real," Harry thought. "That is impossible." The old voice gave a soft sound that might have been a snort. "You are arguing about what is real inside your own mind, child. At this moment I am more real than the man fussing over bottles near your foot. You are in my head." "Our head?" Salazar said. His tone shifted, more patient now but still edged. "Emerge. Your soul. My soul. Your memories. My knowledge. Your body. My birthright." Harry wanted to be sick. No, he thought. Get out. Get out, get out, get out. His heart hammered faster. The steady beep of some spell at the side of his bed quickened in time. "Calm down, Mr. Potter." Madame Pomfrey's voice cut through the rush in his ears. Scene roster. Harry on the bed, Madame Pomfrey near the end, moving closer. Harry blinked hard. The ceiling blurred, then cleared. Madame Pomfrey leaned over him, her face tight with worry. She pressed cool fingers to his wrist, then to his forehead. "You gave us all quite a scare," she said. Her tone was brisk, but he heard the strain under it. "You are safe. You are in the hospital wing. Try to breathe slowly." Harry tried. In through his nose, out through his mouth. His chest still hurt, but he could do it. He licked his lips. "The stone," he croaked. "Professor Quirrell." Madame Pomfrey's mouth thinned. "Yes. And since you somehow managed to fling yourself into mortal danger again, you will be staying here for observation." He almost smiled. That sounded normal. That sounded like something she would say on any afternoon when he had fallen off a broom. For a second it made the new presence in his head feel like a dream. Then he felt the mark on his forehead throb and the illusion broke. His fingers crept up before he could stop them. Madame Pomfrey caught his wrist. "Leave it," she said sharply. "It is healing. You opened it when you first woke." Harry met her eyes. For a moment his vision shifted. He did not know how to describe what he saw. It was not words. More like a flicker of feeling and image that slid under his normal sight. Worry. A picture of him lying pale and still when she first got him. Annoyance at Dumbledore for delaying the call. Respect. A quick thought about the headmaster that tasted like old trust and fresh irritation. Harry gasped. The images vanished. What was that? Legilimency, Salazar said. Passive as it should be. It will grow stronger. Control it or you will drown in noise. He did not have time to answer. The doors at the far end of the ward opened with a soft sound of wood on stone. Footsteps crossed the floor. Slow, measured, familiar. Scene roster update. Harry, Madame Pomfrey, Albus Dumbledore approaching. Albus, Madame Pomfrey said. She did not sound pleased. Dumbledore stopped at the foot of the bed. Harry dragged his eyes toward him. The headmaster looked the same at first glance. Long silver beard, half-moon glasses, many-colored robes. His expression was soft. The same mix of concern and gentle amusement Harry had seen in his office. Harry saw more now that the new sense had woken. He did not try to. His mind simply opened. A flash of an old memory. A baby on a doorstep under cold night air. A letter tucked into a blanket. Regret like a stone in the stomach. Then that same regret pushed away and wrapped in excuses about blood wards and safety. Another image. A much younger Dumbledore standing in front of a broken wall with fire behind him. A face he did not want to see again. Gellert, the taste of guilt. Harry flinched. The flow of impressions cut off in an instant, like someone had snapped their fingers. Salazar chuckled inside his mind. He noticed us, the old voice said. He is trained. He will guard now. Ah, my boy, Dumbledore said aloud. His voice was warm and bright, as if nothing was wrong. "You gave us quite a fright." Harry swallowed. His throat still hurt, but his mind felt frighteningly clear. Too clear. "Play weak," Salazar said. The advice slid through his thoughts like cold water. "Let him think you are still the child he expects. We gain nothing by showing our hand." Harry looked at Dumbledore and let his eyes go a little unfocused. "What happened?" he asked. His voice came out hoarse and small. Dumbledore's gaze softened further. "You defeated Professor Quirrell and protected the stone," he said. "Nicholas and his wife have made their choice regarding it. You have been very brave, Harry." The words brushed against Harry's mind like a test. He felt it now. The slight push, the careful watch for his reaction. "You wanted to see if the break finished me," Salazar noted. "Or if the shard twisted me." Clever, for one of Godric's line. Harry could feel Dumbledore trying to look past his eyes, trying to read his reaction. It felt like a faint pressure between his eyebrows. Before today, Harry would not have noticed it at all. Now it stood out like a draft under a door. He did not push back. He imagined worry, confusion, the things Dumbledore expected to see. He did not have to fake them much. He still felt them. They just sat on top of a new, cold layer made of someone else. "I was not brave," Harry said. "It hurt." Dumbledore's face changed at that. Just a little. A crease of concern deepened beside his mouth. "You chose to stand between Voldemort and the stone," he said quietly. "Many grown wizards could not do the same." Harry flinched at the name, partly from habit, partly because the shard that had lived in his scar had screamed when it died. The echo of that carried through his nerves. "Dead," Salazar said. "Filth burned away." He sounded very pleased. Harry pressed his fingers into the sheet to stop them from shaking. "Did you know," he asked, "about the back of Quirrell's head?" Madame Pomfrey made a sharp noise behind Dumbledore, but the headmaster lifted one hand and she went quiet. He kept his eyes on Harry. "I suspected," Dumbledore said. "I did not wish to burden you with that fear unless it became necessary. You sent me under the trapdoor," Harry said. His voice trembled. He let it. "Why did you not go yourself?" The question landed like a stone in still water. Harry watched the ripples, not in the world, but in the man in front of him. For a heartbeat, Dumbledore's smile slipped. In that beat Harry saw the thoughts under the surface. A chessboard. A boy-shaped piece. The word prophecy. A flash of Trelawney in a shabby room, her eyes rolled back. "Ah, there it is," Salazar murmured. He sounded almost amused. Dumbledore smoothed his face again, but his eyes had changed. "Because," he said, "if I had gone, he would have been ready for me. You, however, were a surprise he did not expect. And you were surrounded by friends who care for you very much. That made all the difference." He spoke gently, but Harry heard the hollowness under some of the words. Friends were not a shield against killing curses. Children were not supposed to be used as bait. Harry held his gaze. His mind wanted to spit accusations. The new part of him held those back and turned them into something sharper. "He thinks of you as a weapon," Salazar said. "A blade he is polishing. The crackles of guilt are real, but he will still use you if it suits his aim. Do not forget that." Harry's fingers dug into the sheet again. "Ron and Hermione," he whispered. "They are all right." "They are quite all right," Dumbledore said at once. "Miss Granger has returned to her dormitory. Mr. Weasley is attempting to steal sweets from the kitchens for you as we speak." Images flickered at the edge of Dumbledore's thoughts. Hermione sobbing in the corridor. Ron sitting by Harry's bed earlier, face white. Dumbledore had moved them away before this talk. Harry felt the decision there. He did not want them to hear what he planned to say. Harry swallowed. "You put that mirror there," he said slowly. "The one that showed my parents." Dumbledore nodded. "I did. You knew I would go back to it." Another pause. Another ripple of thought. Loneliness. A boy in a dormitory bed, staring at the ceiling. Dumbledore's memory of walking past the hidden room and feeling the tug of the mirror and choosing to leave it. "I hoped it would give you some comfort," Dumbledore said. "And tether," Salazar added dryly. "He hung a dream in front of you so you would keep chasing his path." Harry felt sick. Not because of the accusation itself, but because it made sense in a way that hurt. He took a shallow breath. What happens now? He asked. Now you rest, Dumbledore said. His tone turned firm. You have done enough for this school and for the wizarding world for 1 year. Examinations are finished. The house cup will be awarded. You will return to your aunt and uncle for the summer. You will eat, you will sleep, and you will not worry about dark wizards for a few months. That is my prescription. Harry almost laughed. Go back to the cupboard. Go back to Dudley. Go back to chores and hunger and bars on the window. The idea of that being a rest was almost funny. He did not let the laugh come out. The headmaster believed that house was safe. Harry saw the fragile belief in him, patched with talk of blood wards and old magic. Underneath it, Salazar peeled back another layer and showed Harry the truth. Dumbledore knew it was not kind. He simply thought it was necessary. Salazar spoke again, but softer this time. We will not spend our life as his tool. Harry shut his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, he let the confusion and fear show on his face. The old man was watching every twitch. I saw things, Harry said. Down there. In Quirrell. In him. He could not bring himself to say the name again. It hurt too much. Is he gone? For now, Dumbledore said. The answer was simple, and the thoughts that brushed Harry's mind confirmed it. Not permanent. Not yet. The man expected a return. He was already planning for it. Salazar hummed. I will not allow that creature to sit on my line again, the old voice said. When he returns, we will be ready. Who is we? Harry thought back. You and I, Salazar said. Unless you prefer to let your enemies decide your life for you. Harry looked at Dumbledore. You are not telling me everything, he said. Madame Pomfrey sucked in a breath. Dumbledore's eyes did not flick away. That is true, he said. There are things you are not yet ready to hear. When you are older, I will explain more. For now, know this. You are not alone, Harry. You are loved. That last word rang through the room like a soft spell. Harry could feel that Dumbledore believed it. He believed in love as a shield, as an answer to almost anything. Salazar listened and said nothing. Harry could feel his disapproval, but also a wary respect. Love had defeated the curse once. That mattered even to him. Harry swallowed. He could not rip open this whole truth right now. He was 11. His muscles shook just from sitting up. Stay quiet, Salazar said. Learn. Watch. We are not ready to reveal ourselves. Harry nodded once. All right, he said aloud. Dumbledore smiled again. That is all I can ask, he said. Rest now. We will speak again before the term ends. He turned to Madame Pomfrey. May I ask your leave for a moment? You have already taken more than a moment, she said sharply. But yes, 2 minutes. Then my patient sleeps. She moved away to the end of the ward, muttering to herself about foolish old men and children in danger. Bottles clinked again. Dumbledore leaned a little closer to the bed. His gaze softened. Harry, he said quietly, whatever you saw down there, whatever you felt, it does not change what you are. Harry held his breath. You are still Harry Potter, Dumbledore said. The boy who chose to risk his life to save others. That is what matters. The words hung between them. Salazar shifted. Harry could feel his reaction like a weight. Names matter, the old voice said. Lineage matters. Power matters. But choice also matters, child. Do not forget that you have one. Harry did not answer either of them. He just watched Dumbledore's face and let his new sense pick at the edges of the man's thoughts. Regret. Hope. Relief that the boy in the bed still looked small and tired. Plans forming already for next year. For guards. For watchful eyes. We will let him plan, Salazar said. And we will make our own. Dumbledore straightened, his usual calm mask back in place. Sleep, Harry, he said. There will be chocolate when you wake again. He moved away. Scene roster update. Dumbledore walks to the ward doors, speaks a quiet word to Madame Pomfrey, then leaves. Madame Pomfrey returns to the bedside. She fussed with his blankets, checked his pulse again, then pressed a small vial to his lips. Drink, she said. Dreamless sleep. You need it. Harry hesitated. A corner of his mind, the new corner, did not like the idea of any potion that dulled awareness. You are exhausted, Salazar said. Even a mind such as mine feels the strain through a young body. Rest. We will still be here when you wake. Harry swallowed the potion. Tasted bitter and thick. The world blurred at once. His limbs went heavy. Madame Pomfrey moved away again. The lamps at the walls dimmed. As he drifted, he felt the scar throb one last time. Not with pain, but with something like a deep pulse. He reached up and brushed his fingers over it. The skin felt different. The old jagged lightning shape was gone. In its place, his fingertips traced a smoother curve. A small, curling mark, like the outline of a serpent ready to strike. Birthright reclaimed, Salazar murmured. Harry let out a slow breath. Gryffindor, he thought. Yes, Salazar said calmly. The lion's den. The perfect place for a patient snake to wait. Harry's mouth twitched. That sounded wrong and right all at once. We stay there, Harry thought. We watch. We learn. He does not get to use me. No one does. Now you are speaking sense, Salazar said. The last thing Harry heard before sleep claimed him was the faint rustle of sheets and Madame Pomfrey's quiet steps. The last thing he felt was the steady beat of two minds sharing one body and the quiet promise that this year had changed everything, even if no one else knew it yet. Sources. Harry hacked at a stubborn strip of grass until the lawnmower choked and died. The privet drive sun beat down on the back of his neck. His shirt stuck to his skin. The air smelled like cut grass and petrol. His scar itched under his fringe, the new curve of it prickling when he frowned. You are wasting energy, Salazar said. His voice sat in the back of Harry's mind, calm as ever. Harry let go of the lawnmower handle and wiped his forehead with the back of his arm. I am cutting the grass, he thought. The Dursleys yell if it is not perfect. Even so, Salazar said. Push too hard and you will draw attention. These people notice only two things. Work that is not done, and anything that looks unnatural. Our strength is not for their garden. Harry looked at the house. The kitchen window was open. Aunt Petunia moved back and forth behind the glass, thin and sharp and busy. He caught a flicker of thought without meaning to. Grass better be neat. Nosy neighbors. That boy is always strange. Harry winced. You opened again, Salazar said. His tone was not angry, just cool. Tighten it. I am trying, Harry thought. He stood by the silent lawnmower and focused on his own mind. Madame Pomfrey had taken the bandage off his scar before he left the hospital wing. When he looked in the mirror that day, the old lightning line was gone. The skin was smoother, marked with a faint little curve that looked like a coiled serpent. Every time he lost control, the mark tingled and the world around him cracked open. Feelings, pictures, tiny half-formed thoughts from whoever he looked at. At first it had just poured in all at once until he felt sick. Salazar had forced him to practice. Think of your mind as a room, the old voice had said then. The same room you always lived in. I have added shelves and walls and better locks. You will learn which windows to open. Now Harry imagined that room. He saw a single window and pushed it shut. The faint buzz of Aunt Petunia's thoughts cut off. The itch behind his scar eased. He let out a breath. Better, Salazar said. Harry bent, checked the fuel can, then kicked the lawnmower once. It spluttered back to life. He trundled it in slow lines across the grass. Not too fast. Not too neat. Normal. Normal. That word felt more fake every day he spent here. He finished the garden, hosed the mud off his trainers, and dragged himself back into the house. The hallway was cool after the heat outside. The smell changed from grass and petrol to cleaning spray and Aunt Petunia's perfume. She glanced at him as he passed the kitchen door. Her mouth pinched. You are filthy, she said. Do not tread dirt in my hallway. Harry looked down. A faint trail of damp, green streaks marked the tiles behind him. His shoulders tensed automatically. You will mop it, Aunt Petunia said. After you wash. Vernon wants dinner on the table in an hour. He caught a flash from her mind before he shut himself down again. A vague relief that he was quiet these days. No shouting. No freakish accidents. Just tired eyes and that odd mark on his head. He closed his own mental window and went to the tiny bathroom. The mirror over the sink was slightly streaked. He turned the tap, splashed his face, then pushed back his fringe and studied the mark. The serpent curve sat there, pale against his skin. Not obvious unless you knew to look. It suits you, Salazar said. Harry snorted. Yeah, nothing says normal like a snake drawn on your forehead. Normal is for people who will die without leaving a single mark on history, Salazar said. We have other concerns. Harry dried his face and leaned his hands on the edge of the sink. Such as, he asked. The closest thing to a sigh brushed his thoughts. You are in a hostile environment, Salazar said. You have an enemy whose fragment I have already burned out. You have a supposed ally who saw that fragment as a useful chain around your neck. You have a school that has allowed its standards to rot for centuries. Your time here is not for moping about your relatives. It is for preparation. Harry stared at his reflection. Wet hair. Thin face. A faint snake where the old scar had been. I am 12, he thought. You are 12 and you are me, Salazar said. That gives us very little excuse. Harry felt a laugh bubble up. Half tired. Half sharp. Fine, he thought. Preparation. Start where? With your mind, Salazar said. And then with your lessons. The flashback hit that night. Harry lay on his narrow bed in the smallest bedroom. The street outside was quiet. The only sound in the house was a faint snore from Dudley's room and the ticking of the clock in the hallway. His body ached from chores and the edge of the mattress dug into his shoulder. He stared at the ceiling and turned the window in his head up just a fraction. Not enough to flood him. Just enough to feel the house. Vernon Dursley dreamed about drills, money, and a promotion that never quite came. Aunt Petunia dreamed about clean counters and neighbors who envied her. Dudley dreamed about a new computer game and a chance to punch someone without trouble. Harry listened, then eased the window closed again. Good, Salazar said. Control. Not too much. Enough to stay alive. Harry rolled onto his side. You said my lessons, he thought. Hogwarts. Yes, Salazar said. He could feel the old man's focus shift. It was like watching a lantern turn toward some distant wall. You told me what they teach now, Salazar said. Charms with no theory, barely any work with raw magic. A defense class cursed for a decade. That farce they call history. You have no runic instruction until your third year. No serious mathematics of magic at all for most students. Maths, Harry thought. Magic maths. Arithmancy, Salazar corrected. You will study it. Along with ancient runes. Those two are the spine of real magic. A wizard who cannot write his own spell work is a child playing with fireworks. Harry smiled into his pillow. You know Roman letters and old runes, he said. You could just do it through me. For now, Salazar said. But you intend to live more than one vulnerable decade. I will not hold your hand forever. You must be able to think in the language of magic yourself. Harry let that sit in his mind. It was strange. He had never thought of classes as something he could shape. He had gone where the timetable told him. Done whatever homework he did not forget. Now an idea clicked into place. So we change it, he thought. We do, Salazar said. How? Salazar did not answer at once. The silence stretched until Harry's eyes drifted shut. Then the world dropped away. The sorting hat dropped over his eyes again. It was not the first night in the Great Hall. Not really. He could tell because the pieces did not fit just like they had before. Details blurred around the edges. The candles above floated in a slow, strange way. The noise from the tables rose and fell like the tide. The hat itself was clear. Heavy, musty, warm against his forehead. Its voice slid into his mind, dry and knowing. Ah, there we are, it said. The founder wakes. Harry stiffened. His legs moved in the memory, swinging a little as he sat on the stool. But his mind now was older. Split. One part was 11 and terrified. The other part was 11 with 1,000 years of someone else stacked on top. You knew, he thought. Of course I knew, the hat said. You built me. You gave me my talent. The moment they dropped you onto that stool, I felt you. My maker. In a child. That was a surprise. The voice that spoke next was not Harry's. It was smoother, colder. It tasted of stone and torch smoke. You have decayed, Salazar said through Harry's mouth. The hat sniffed in his head. Charming, it said. And you have chosen a very small frame for your return. Why hide in a boy when your old bones could have stood again? Harry felt the sting under the words. Salazar did not. My original bones are dust, Salazar said. My soul is not a trinket to hang on a cloak stand. This body is alive. That is sufficient. The hat hummed. Alive and loud and full of conflict, it said. There is the boy, full of Gryffindor traits, and there is you. Ambition, cunning, a gift for planning 10 steps ahead. You know where you belong. Slytherin, Salazar said. The hat brightened. Exactly. No, Harry cut in. The 11-year-old part of him pushed back. Fierce. Not Slytherin. Not with Malfoy. Not after what Ron said on the train. Ah, the tiny red-haired friend, the hat said. Very loud internal opinions for such a small person. Harry felt a flash of the original moment. Ron whispering that there was not a witch or wizard who went bad who was not in Slytherin. Malfoy with his pale pointed face. Snape glowering at the table to the side. That is a narrative crafted by those who dislike my methods, Salazar said. It has very little to do with actual moral content. I do not care about your house pride, Harry thought. I do not want to sit with Malfoy for 7 years. The hat chuckled. You both make fair points, it said. But this is not only about your comfort. There is also the matter of what is best for the school. And for the wider world. Salazar leaned into that. Then the choice is obvious, he said. I should be in my own house. My influence would bring it back to its proper state. Not this pale copy ruled by petty children and their even pettier parents. Your house is currently a nest of ambition without wisdom. The hat agreed. It would benefit from you. Harry could feel his heart pound inside the memory. No, he said again. Loud this time. Not there. The hat hesitated. You do not refuse lightly, it said. You know what Slytherin gives you. Allies who value strength. Access to your own legacy. Salazar answered before Harry could. What Slytherin gives us now is a target on our back, he said. The first place Dumbledore will look. The first group the Ministry will suspect. The first line every story will blame. The hat went quiet. Continue, it said. Harry felt the old mind unwrap a plan he had not had words for at 11. Godric left a mark on this place as surely as I did, Salazar said. His house holds the reputation of courage and loyalty. The world believes they are the heroes. If we stay with them, we claim that mask. We gain cover. We gain the moral high ground. You hate that phrase, Harry thought. I hate the misuse of it, Salazar said. But it has weight. Imagine the stories. The boy who lived. Brave little Gryffindor. No one suspects the serpent under the red and gold. That is a very Slytherin sentence, the hat said. It sounded amused. I am Slytherin, Salazar said. Harry swallowed. In the memory, his fingers gripped the edge of the stool. What about my friends, he asked. Salazar did not ignore that. These children are your first real attachments, he said. The red-haired boy will stand by you to the end if you let him. The girl will sharpen you whether you want it or not. They are valuable. And they are both Gryffindor to their bones. The hat listened. So you want Gryffindor, it said. You, the founder of Slytherin, want to live in the lion's den. Salazar smiled inside Harry's head. I want access, he said. To Dumbledore in his own camp. To the trust of the so-called light. To the public story. I can reclaim my house from the outside. It will be slower. It will also leave fewer obvious corpses. Harry flinched at that word. I do not want corpses, he said. You live in a world built on people who died to keep their secrets, Salazar said. There will be blood. We can however choose how much and where. The hat shifted on his head. You are both very loud, it said. The candles above the table flickered. The hall wavered. You are sure, the hat asked. There is still time to turn. I can send you to the chamber under the dungeons. You could walk into your old common room and reclaim them by right. Salazar answered first. If I walk in there now as a first year, I will be a child with more arrogance than proof, he said. Dumbledore will fix that problem in a week. Gryffindor gives us time. Then Harry spoke. I want to sit with Ron, he said. I want to be near the people who helped me. I want to be somewhere that does not feel exactly like Snape. The hat sighed. You are stubborn, it said. Yes, Salazar said. Yes, Harry echoed. The hat laughed aloud so only he could hear. Very well, it said. If you insist, then there is only one place. Better be. The memory cut off before the last word. Harry knew what it had shouted to the hall. Gryffindor. He woke with that word in his ears. The ceiling of his small bedroom was dark. His heart hammered as if he had just run a race. Sweat dampened the back of his neck. That was not just a dream, he thought. No, Salazar said. That was a memory adjusted to your new awareness. The choice stands. We were correct. Harry stared up at the ceiling. Dumbledore will look at his own house first, he thought slowly. He trusts them more. He expects them to obey. Exactly, Salazar said. And because he sees you as a weapon, he will never quite believe you could choose ambition for yourself as long as you wear his colors. Harry rolled onto his side and pulled the thin blanket up to his chin. Then we use that, he said. Good, Salazar said. Now we turn to the next problem. Lessons, Harry said. Yes, Salazar said. You need ancient runes and arithmancy. You will not wait until they hand out little pamphlets in your second year and hope you choose well. You will secure it with the deputy headmistress herself. Professor McGonagall, Harry said. Salazar sounded pleased. You learn. The Hogwarts Express rattled along the tracks. The compartment smelled of sweets and Ron Weasley's sandwich. Trunks took up half the floor. Hedwig slept in her cage near the window, head tucked under one wing. The hills outside blurred past in shades of green and brown. Ron sprawled on the seat opposite Harry, a chocolate frog wrapper in his hand. Hermione sat beside Harry with a book open on her lap. Her eyes flicked between the page and Harry's face. You look different, she said. Harry lifted his brows. How, he asked. Hermione tipped her head. Her hair frizzed around her face more than ever. I do not know, she said. Just different. Quieter but also not. It is odd. Ron snorted. That's what nearly dying does to you, he said. You start thinking about everything. He said the words lightly. Harry caught the quick flash of memory under them anyway. Ron dragging him out from under the chess piece. The panic when Harry did not wake up at first in the hospital wing. Harry shut his mental window to keep from drowning in that. I have been thinking, he said instead. Hermione smiled. You always think, she said. More, Harry said. About classes. Ron's face fell. Do not start, he said. It is the first day back. At least wait until we are within range of McGonagall's cat stare. Harry felt Salazar stir. You see, the old voice said. Even your friends know who matters. I want to talk to her, Harry said. Ron blinked. About what, he asked. Hermione straightened. She already had a guess. About electives, she said. Ron's expression shut down. No, he said. Absolutely not. It is too early to talk about more homework. We do not even know all the new teachers yet. Hermione ignored him. Electives start in third year, she said. We do not pick them now. Harry shrugged. Maybe not usually, he said. But I want to know what I am heading for. I do not want to end up in some class that is just vague predictions and tea leaves. Hermione made a face. Divination, she said. I have read about it. It does not sound very reliable. Harry nodded. Exactly, he said. I want something solid. Things with rules. Runes. Arithmancy. Hermione looked at him properly now. You know about arithmancy, she asked. Harry felt Salazar smile. I know it is the maths of magic, Harry said. And that, if you do not understand it, you are just repeating spells without knowing why they work. Hermione's eyes lit up. That is true, she said. There was a book I found that talked about it. Not in detail because it said it was too advanced, but it sounded amazing. Formulae for spell strength. Patterns for wards. She stopped, flushing. Sorry, she said. I got carried away. Harry shook his head. No, it is good, he said. I want that. I am going to ask Professor McGonagall if there is a way to make sure we can take both. No divination. No fluff. Ron groaned. You two are insane, he said. You will thank us when you are not stuck in a hot tower with some batty person waving cards at you. Hermione said. Harry smiled. We can help each other, he said. If I can get her to agree, we can both start reading early. Hermione hugged her book to her chest. I would like that, she said quietly. Harry caught the quick flicker of her thoughts before he shut his window again. A picture of the three of them, older, strong, standing together while the rest of the school scrambled to catch up. It warmed him in a way he was not ready to name. Ron watched them both and shook his head. Fine, he said. You two march off to talk advanced homework with McGonagall. I will stay at a safe distance where her eyebrow cannot kill me. Harry laughed. You are coming, he said. No, Ron said at once. Yes, Hermione said. Ron looked between them, saw the set of Hermione's mouth and the steady look in Harry's eyes, and sagged. You are both terrible, he said. Harry leaned his head back against the window. Terrible and cunning, Salazar said. Harry did not disagree. Professor McGonagall's office smelled of parchment and ink and a faint hint of tea. She sat behind her desk, straight-backed as always, a quill in her hand. A stack of first-day forms lay in front of her. The window to the left looked out over the grounds where students milled toward the feast. Harry stood in front of the desk with Hermione at his side. Ron hovered near the door, as if ready to bolt. Professor McGonagall looked up over the top of her square glasses. Mr. Potter, Miss Granger, she said. Mr. Weasley, should you not be on your way to the Great Hall? Ron opened his mouth. Yes, Professor, he said. We were just leaving. Hermione stepped on his foot. Ow, he muttered. Harry took a breath. We wanted to ask you something, Professor, he said. Her gaze sharpened at once. If you have managed to find trouble before the feast, Mr. Potter, I will be most impressed, she said. No trouble, Harry said quickly. This is about classes. Her eyebrows rose a fraction. Classes, she repeated. In your second year. Yes, Harry said. She set down her quill. Proceed, she said. Salazar shifted in his mind. Be precise, he said. She respects clarity. Harry met Professor McGonagall's eyes. He kept his mental window almost shut, just enough to brush the surface of her focus. She was tired from a long day of sorting forms. A thread of worry ran under everything, something about the defense post again. But under that was the steady core of a woman who believed in rules and in giving clever students what they needed. I wanted to ask about future subjects, Harry said. About electives in third year. That is some time away, Mr. Potter, she said. I know, he said. But I have had time to think this summer. I do not want to pick something vague. I want to build a proper base. One of Professor McGonagall's brows ticked up. Proper base, she repeated. Yes, Harry said. Ancient runes. Arithmancy. The subjects that let you understand how spells are built and how wards work. Hermione nodded quickly. We have been reading, she said. Well, I have. Harry listened. Harry bit back a smile. Professor McGonagall looked from one to the other. Most second years do not come to me asking for more work, she said. Ron raised a hand a little from his place near the door. For the record, Professor, he said, I am here under protest. Her mouth twitched. Noted, she said. Harry pressed on. I know divination is an option, he said. But from what I have heard and read, it seems loose. I do not want to base any future on vague predictions. I want subjects that are exact. Hermione could not help herself. In Hogwarts, a history, she said, there is a whole section on how the founders designed the curriculum. Ancient runes and arithmancy were core once. Over time they became optional and the basic classes stayed more or less the same. Professor McGonagall pursed her lips. There were reasons for that, she said. Most students do not have the patience or the talent for heavy theory. Harry felt Salazar bristle at that and damped it down. I might, he said quietly. Her gaze snapped back to him. Explain, she said. Harry swallowed. I nearly died last term, he said. There was a long pause. I went through a lot under the school. Traps, logic puzzles, magic I had never been taught. It worked out, but most of that was luck and help from friends. He let the memory of each step flicker through his mind. The chessboard, the logic fire, the final room. He did not shove it at her, but he did not hide it either. He saw the moment she caught the edge of something in his eyes and understood more than he said. I do not want to rely on luck again, he said, or on someone else setting up the board. I want to know how to make wards and break them, to know what a spell is doing under the surface. Hermione nodded, eyes bright. We want to be prepared, she said. Professor McGonagall sat very still. That is a very mature way to put it, she said at last. Harry shrugged. I just do not want to be clueless, he said. And you believe ancient runes and arithmancy are the way to avoid that, she said. Yes, Harry said. I would like to make sure I can take both. And I do not want divination. At all. She looked down at the forms on her desk, then back at him. We do not usually set elective schedules this early, she said. There are processes, letters home, discussions. Harry took a step closer. I do not have anyone at home who understands any of this, he said. My aunt and uncle do not care. If I want to learn something useful, I need to start here. With you. He did not let the bitterness in that thought show on his face. He felt it anyway. So did she. Her eyes softened just a fraction. You are asking me to trust that you will handle a very demanding course load, she said. Harry held her gaze. Yes, he said. Hermione drew in a breath. I can help, she said quickly. I like theory. I can work with Harry outside class. We can keep each other on track. Ron made a faint choking sound from the door. Professor McGonagall glanced at him. Mr. Weasley, she said. Do you intend to involve yourself? He held up his hands. No, Professor, he said. I support them from a safe distance. She almost smiled. Very wise, she said. Silence stretched while she considered. Harry kept his window half closed. Even without legitimacy, he could read the thin lines at the corners of her mouth and the way her fingers tapped once on the desk. When she spoke, her voice was brisk again. Very well, she said. I will make a note on both your records. When the time comes to select electives, you will be approved for ancient runes and arithmancy. If you change your minds, you may of course try divination, but I will expect a very good reason. Harry shook his head. I will not change my mind, he said. Hermione nodded hard. Me either, she said. Professor McGonagall looked at them both. In that case, I will also arrange for you to access some introductory material this year, she said. Gently. No formal classes, but reading and perhaps 1 or 2 meetings with the relevant professors if they agree. That way you will not be overwhelmed when the proper work begins. Hermione lit up. Thank you, Professor, she said. Harry felt a slow, real smile spread across his face. Thank you, he said. Do not thank me yet, she said. Ancient runes and arithmancy will not be kind if you slack off. They demand consistency. They do not reward last-minute effort. We understand, Harry said. Good, she said. Now go to the feast. If you cause any explosions this year, Mr. Potter, I expect you to be able to write me the runic sequence for them. Ron let out a strangled laugh. Yes, Professor, Harry said. They stepped back. Professor McGonagall picked up her quill again as they left, but Harry felt her gaze on his back for a moment longer. Hermione did not wait until they were far. That was amazing, she said as they walked down the corridor. Her voice bounced off the stone walls. Do you know how rare this is? Extra material. Early access. Ron shuffled beside them, hands in his pockets. You two are talking about extra work like it is a prize, he said. You scare me. You will be fine, Harry said. He could not help it. He felt light for the first time in weeks. It was not joy exactly, more like the thin edge of control. They turned the corner. A gaggle of older students passed them, laughing. The air smelled of stone and candle wax and the faint scent of food drifting from the great hall. Hermione glanced up at him. What made you think of this? She asked quietly. Harry hesitated. You did, he said. And last year. Me, she said. You kept reading ahead, he said. You pushed us. And then we nearly died because someone set up a puzzle under the school and we barely understood half of it. I do not want to be in that position again. Hermione looked down for a moment. I still have nightmares about that fire, she said. Harry nodded. So do I, he said. They walked in silence for a few steps. Hermione spoke again. You sounded very sure in there, she said. Like you had thought about this for a long time. Harry shrugged. I had all summer, he said. Nothing else to do. Her eyes softened. Right, she said. Your relatives. He kept his window closed this time. He did not need to peek to know what she felt. Pity. Anger. The stubborn resolve to help. If we are going to do this, he said, changing the subject, we need a plan. Hermione perked up at that word. A study plan, she said. Yes, he said. We will get whatever books Professor McGonagall can arrange. You can tear through them. I will catch up. We talk about anything interesting. Anything that sounds like it can change how spells work. Hermione nodded fast. We can make notes, she said. Maybe cross-reference runes with charms we already know. See where they line up. Salazar hummed in approval. She thinks like a proper researcher, he said. Keep her close. Harry smiled. We can ask about the wards on the castle, he said. Nothing too direct. Just questions. Hermione frowned. You mean the protective spells, she said. Yes, Harry said. Ron rolled his eyes. You are both going to end up as tiny professors, he said. Better that than tiny corpses, Harry said before he could stop himself. The words hung in the air. For a second, all three of them went quiet. Then Ron made a face. That is grim, he said. True, but grim. Harry shrugged. Real, he said. Hermione slipped her hand through his for a second and squeezed. Then let go. We will not let that happen, she said. He believed her more than he believed in most things. The library was quiet a few days later. Afternoon light slanted through high windows. Dust motes floated in the beams. Rows of shelves marched away into the dim. Madame Pants watched from her desk like an angry bird guarding a nest. Harry and Hermione sat together at a corner table. Piles of books towered around them. Some were from the regular shelves. A few had small tags that marked them as restricted access, loaned at Professor McGonagall's request. Hermione had already filled a roll of parchment with neat notes. She pushed her hair back with ink-stained fingers and frowned at a diagram. So these are the basic runes, she said. They are like letters, but each one carries a concept. Protection, binding, change. If you combine them in the right pattern, you get a ward. Harry leaned on his elbow and traced one of the symbols with his eyes. It looked simple. A few straight lines, some angles. It is not simple, Salazar said. That mark carries layers of intent. Drawn wrong, it can do nothing or explode. Pay attention. Harry paid attention. So if this one means protection, he said aloud, why does the book say it failed in that example? Hermione followed his finger. Because they tried to use it alone, she said. Without a direction marker. It is like saying protect without saying what or from what. We read the same passage, Salazar said. She understood it 2 pages ago. Harry smiled a little. You mean it needs context, he said. Exactly, Hermione said. Harry sat back. So if we wanted to protect a room from someone getting in, we would need this rune, he said, tapping the mark for protection and this one for space and something that marks who is allowed. Hermione nodded. We would also need power, she said. And placement. The book says the intent and position matter as much as the symbols. Salazar sounded satisfied. You see the shape of it, he said. Good. Harry reached for another book. The cover was cracked from age. The title mentioned rune chains and spell structure. He flipped it open and scanned the first page. It talked about how old wards could last for centuries if written properly and anchored into stone. For a moment he saw Hogwarts in his mind, its walls laced with scripts no one had checked in many years. Salazar sharpened. There are pieces of my old work still in that castle, he said. Broken by time, patched by others. When you understand this, you will be able to see them, and fix them, or replace them. Harry's pulse picked up. That sounds like a lot, he thought. You wanted a proper base, Salazar said. This is it. Hermione watched his face. You are smiling, she said. He blinked. Am I? He asked. Yes, she said. In a slightly scary way, but in a good way. He laughed under his breath. I like this, he said. Hermione nodded. Me too, she said. He could feel her thoughts again, even with his window mostly shut. Curiosity. Excitement. A sharp mind hooking into something that would not bore her in a week. This is the wholesome part, Salazar said dryly. Wholesome, Harry repeated. You both love knowledge, Salazar said. You will save lives with it if you are careful. That is as close to wholesome as I will ever promise. Harry looked down at the page. We will need arithmancy too, he said softly. Hermione smiled. One thing at a time, she said. But yes. Cannot wait. Madame Pants cleared her throat loudly, and they bent over their books again. Later that night, Harry lay in his 4-poster bed in the Gryffindor dormitory. The room was dim. Ron snored lightly in the bed nearby. The curtains made little rustling sounds when the wind from the window shifted. Harry stared at the hangings above his head. Today they had had their first defense lesson with Gilderoy Lockhart. It had been stupid, showy, and almost entirely useless. Salazar had spent the whole class muttering insults in his mind. You see what I mean about decay, the old voice said now. Yes, Harry thought. He thought of the books in the library, the lines of runes, the promise of hard, real power if he did the work. He thought of McGonagall's sharp approval and Hermione's bright eyes. He also thought of the whisper in the walls he had heard earlier that day. He had been walking back from the library with Ron and Hermione when it had slithered past his ear. Come to me. Let me rip you. Let me tear you. Ron and Hermione had heard nothing. Harry had frozen and heard Salazar's shock. That is my language, Salazar had snapped. In my school, used like that, they had not told anyone yet. There had been no time, no proof, only the thin hiss and the still damp wall where something had moved. Now, in the dark, Harry listened to the quiet and felt the tension coil in his stomach. We will deal with it, Salazar said. Harry nodded in the dark. We learn, he thought. We plan. We fix what is ours. Salazar sounded almost gentle. Good, he said. Sleep. Tomorrow we continue. Harry let his eyes close. The last thing he saw in his mind was a web of runes wrapping around the castle like a net, each line precise, each mark his. Sources. The pipe roared around him. Cold slime smeared his hands as Harry slid down into the dark. His stomach lurched. Air rushed past his ears, loud and rough. He held his wand in a death grip and tried not to think about how far they were falling. Ron shouted somewhere above him. Lockhart screamed like a kettle about to burst. They hit the stone floor one after another. Harry slammed down on his side. Pain shot through his ribs. His wand skidded out of his hand and clacked against the tunnel wall. For a second he just lay there, wind knocked out of him, lungs burning. Get up, Salazar said, calm in his head. Harry pulled in a breath, rolled to his knees and grabbed his wand. The tunnel smelled of damp stone and something thick and old underneath, like snakes in time. Slime streaked the walls. Ron groaned beside him and pushed himself upright. His hair was full of muck. I am going to be sick, Ron said. Lockhart sat a little way off, clutching his elbow and trying to fix his smile. That was, he said, voice shaky, quite a ride. Harry stood and lifted his wand. Lumos, he said. Light flared at the tip. The tunnel stretched away, rough and slick. Bones lay scattered along the floor. Some were small, some long and twisted. Ron stared. Brilliant, he muttered. Just brilliant. Bones. Of course. Harry swallowed. His heart thudded faster. Do not stare, Salazar said. We have work to do. Ginny. Harry tightened his grip on his wand. We get her, he said. Then we deal with whoever thinks they can touch my chamber. The possessive word slipped out before he could stop it. It rang true in his chest. Your chamber, Salazar said quietly. Remember that. They moved forward. The light from Harry's wand threw long shadows. Water dripped somewhere in the dark. Lockhart trotted behind them, eyes flicking to the bones. Now, boys, he said. No need to panic. I am sure this is all a terrible misunderstanding. I will speak with the monster and send it on its way. Ron snorted. Right, he said. Maybe you can sign its book. Harry did not answer. He scanned the floor as they walked and tried not to imagine huge coils moving through the muck. You will not imagine, Salazar said. You will observe. Look at the walls. See the pattern. Harry did. The slime and scratches were not random. There was a faint curve to them, a trail, path. His skin prickled. He hated that this place smelled like his language. They reached a huge shed skin. Ron stopped dead. Is that, he asked, voice thin. Yes, Harry said. The skin lay in torn heaps. It was pale, papery, and huge. Ron stepped back. This thing is massive, he whispered. Lockhart made a faint choking noise. Well, he said. Now that we have confirmed the beast is real and, considerable, perhaps it is time for a more experienced wizard to take charge. Harry turned. What you, he asked. Lockhart straightened his robes. Obviously, he said. You two are only children. You have done very well to get this far. I will, of course, take it from here. I will rescue the girl, defeat the monster, and then write a stirring account. Harry stared at him. You cannot even handle Cornish pixies, he said. Lockhart bristled. Those creatures were unpredictable, he said. Now hand over your wands. School rules. Would not want you doing anything rash. Ron laughed once. No chance, he said. Lockhart moved faster than Harry expected. He snatched Ron's wand and spun, pointing it at them with a hand that trembled only a little. Harry lifted his own wand at once. You are not serious, he said. Oh, but I am, Lockhart said. So sorry about this. Really. Memory charms are tricky, but I am very good at them. I will simply adjust a few things. You will wake up in the hospital wing. I will be the hero. Everyone wins. Salazar made a disgusted noise in Harry's mind. There are always parasites near glory, he said. Step aside. Harry did not step aside. You try that, he said, and I will hex you until you forget your own name. Lockhart smiled weakly. Nothing personal, he said. Obliviate. Ron's broken wand exploded. The sound cracked through the tunnel. A blast of light rushed back along the wand and hit Lockhart square in the chest. He spun, slammed into the wall and crumpled. Dust and stone showered down. The tunnel shook. Harry grabbed the wall with his free hand. Move, Salazar snapped. Harry lunged for Ron and shoved. The roof between them and Lockhart caved in with a grinding roar. Rocks crashed down in a cloud of grit and slime. When it settled, a solid wall of broken stone blocked the path. Harry coughed and waved dust from his face. His ears rang. Ron pushed himself up and swore under his breath. Brilliant, he said. Now he is actually useless and trapped, and we are stuck on this side. Harry pressed his hand to the new wall. It was solid. Professor, he shouted. A faint groan came from the other side. Who am I? Lockhart mumbled. Perfect, Ron said. Harry stepped back. Well, that is that, Ron said. We will have to go back, get help, something. Ginny is past here, Harry said. Ron opened his mouth, closed it, then set his jaw. Right, he said. So you go on and I drag this idiot out. Harry turned. Ron grabbed his sleeve. You are not going alone, Ron said. Harry met his eyes. Someone has to clear this, Harry said. If we both stay, she dies. If I go, she might not. Ron's throat bobbed. I hate this, he said. So do I, Harry said. He thought of Ginny on the common room floor, pale and small. He thought of Mrs. Weasley's face. You will come back, Ron said. That was not a question. Harry nodded once. Try not to drop the professor on his head, he said. No promises, Ron muttered. Harry turned and moved deeper into the tunnel. His wand light pushed the dark back a few steps at a time. Behind him, he heard Ron start to shift rocks and swear under his breath. You let him be brave, Salazar said quietly. Good. Harry did not answer. He just walked. The wall with the snakes came out of the dark like a waiting mouth. A great circular door sat in the stone. Carved serpents curled around it. Their eyes seemed to track him. The air here was colder, older. Harry stopped. His pulse pounded in his throat. He could feel something behind the stone. Pressure. Expectation. This is yours, Salazar said. Harry licked dry lips. Right, he said. He stepped closer and laid his hand on the carved snake at the center. The stone was cool. Open, he hissed. The word left his mouth like a hiss of steam. The language slid over his tongue like water. Felt right. Deep and solid, like it had always been part of him. The carved serpents moved. Stones scraped as they slithered and unwound. The door split and slid back with a grinding rumble. Cold air rushed out, damp and heavy, carrying the smell of old water and something sharp underneath. Harry lowered his hand. His skin tingled. See, Salazar said. Not a trick. Not borrowed. Blood remembers. Harry stepped through. The Chamber of Secrets opened into a vast stone hall. The ceiling vanished into shadow. Thick stone pillars lined the sides, carved in the shape of entwined serpents. Water lay in shallow pools along the floor, rippling gently. At the far end, a giant face was carved into the back wall. Long beard, sharp nose, deep-set eyes. Stone serpents grew from its mouth and curled down like a frame. Harry stared at it. You made that, he thought. Salazar sounded tired. I was very young, he said. A small red form lay on the wet stone in front of the statue. Ginny. A tall boy stood near her, half solid, half not, with dark hair and a pale, handsome face. His eyes gleamed, not quite normal. Tom Riddle smiled when he saw Harry. At last, he said. Harry moved forward slowly, water sucking at his shoes. His wand shook, just a little. Ginny lay on her side. Hair spread around her like a pool of dull red. Her skin was gray. Her chest barely moved. Harry's stomach lurched. "Ginny," he said. He dropped to his knees beside her and grabbed her shoulder. She was cold. His heart hammered harder. "She will not wake," Riddle said. "Not while I hold the diary." Harry looked up at him. Tom Riddle held the battered diary in one hand. It looked even more ordinary than it had in the dorm. His fingers moved over the cover like he was petting something. "Who are you really?" Harry asked. Riddle tilted his head. "We meet again, Harry," he said. "Though you have never met this version of me. 16 years old. Prefect. Prize student." Harry snorted. 16 and already a murderer, he said. "Impressive, if you like that sort of thing." Salazar spoke inside his head. Voice gone cold. "Tom Marvolo Riddle," he said. "I see the shape of him now." Riddle's smile widened. "You hear him, do you, Harry?" he said. "The echoes. Your pet founder." I wondered how clear he would be. Harry's fingers dug into Ginny's sleeve. "You talk like you know him," Harry said. Riddle shrugged. "I studied him," he said. "I followed the signs. Opened the chamber. Carved his message into the wall. Ran the basilisk through the pipes. Beautiful work, really. Elegant." Salazar bristled. "He used my creation to terrorize children," Salazar said. "A child imitates a knife and thinks he has become a smith." Harry kept his face blank. "Ginny," he said. "What did you do to her?" Riddle walked closer. His steps made no sound on the whetstone. As he moved, his edges blurred and sharpened again, like he was fighting to stay formed. "She trusted me," Riddle said. "Wrote her secrets. Cried ink tears into my pages. Every line she wrote, I took a little more. A piece of her soul at a time." He sounded pleased. Harry's stomach twisted. "You fed on a lonely first year," Harry said. Riddle's eyes flashed. "She was weak," he said. "Easy to use. That is what people are. Tools." He spread his free hand. "And she delivered you here. The boy who lived. The child with my scar and my language." "Not your language," Harry said. Riddle laughed. "We will see," he said. Salazar spoke at the same time. "He is nothing of mine," Salazar said. Harry took a slow breath. He could feel the magic in the air. Old words. Old lines. His lines. This place knew him even if no one else did. Riddle watched him. "You look different," Riddle said. "The scar. The eyes. You smell different to the chamber." "That is interesting." Harry met his gaze. "You are a parasite riding a schoolgirl," Harry said. "Not that interesting." Riddle's eyes narrowed. "You should show respect when you talk to me," he said. "I am the greatest wizard of this age." Salazar laughed in Harry's mind. "There it is," he said. Arrogance on a cracked base. Harry stood slowly. "Greatest wizard," he repeated. Riddle lifted his chin. "I am Lord Voldemort," he said. The air in the chamber shivered. The name carried weight even in this half-formed state. Shadows around him seemed to lean closer. Harry felt his own anger settle. It was a cool thing. Heavy. "You are a stupid boy who carved his name into the world and then hacked his soul into pieces," Harry said. Riddle's expression froze. "Careful," he said. Harry stepped closer to the pool between them. The water rippled around his shoes. "You took the house I built and turned it into a nest for cowards," Harry said. "You broke your soul for short-term advantage. You chose bigotry because you thought fear was easier than real work." Riddle frowned. "We have never met," he said slowly. "Yet you talk like you were there." Salazar leaned forward in Harry's mind. "Tell him," he said. "He deserves to know who judges him." Harry did not give his name. "Not the new one. Not yet." "You call yourself the heir of Slytherin," Harry said. "I am." Riddle snapped. "No," Harry said. "You are a failed heir. An ignorant student who read half the book and thought he had surpassed the author." Riddle's lips drew back from his teeth. "You dare," he said. "You use Parseltongue like a party trick," Harry said. "You wave it around to frighten children. You turned my security system into a cheap murder weapon." Riddle blinked. "Your security system," he repeated. Harry felt the chamber hum around him. The pillars, the carved face, the old wards in the stone. They recognized his magic. His blood. They had been waiting. "The basilisk sleeps," Salazar said. "Call it." Harry drew in a breath. Riddle's smile returned. sharp and hungry. Yes, he said softly. Let us show you what your birthright can do. He turned toward the giant stone face and raised his voice. Speak to me, Slytherin, greatest of the Hogwarts Four, he hissed. The words slithered in Parseltongue. Harry understood every sound. The carved mouth of the statue opened. Stone ground against stone. Darkness yawned inside. Something vast moved. The basilisk slid out, scale by scale. Green, slick, huge. Its body poured down the statue like a living river. Its head was massive, eyes like lamp glass, fangs long and curved. Harry's heart hammered so hard it hurt. Sweat slid down his back. His wand hand shook. Do not run, Salazar said. It smells fear. It remembers my blood. Let it see you. Riddle stepped away from the path of the snake. His form more solid now, feeding off the fear in the air. Kill him, he hissed at the basilisk. The basilisk turned its head toward Harry. Its eyes locked on his. For a second the world narrowed to green scales and golden slitted eyes. Harry felt Salazar's power surge up from the mark on his forehead. Now, Salazar said. Harry shifted his stance. His voice came out low and sharp. Down, he hissed. The basilisk froze. Riddle stared. What, he snapped. I said kill him. Harry bared his teeth. His tongue moved in old sounds that felt like stone and water. You will not take my commands in my hall, he told the basilisk in Parseltongue. The basilisk blinked slowly. His head lowered. The giant body shifted, coils sliding over stone with a scraping hiss. It did not strike. Riddle looked from snake to boy. Impossible, he whispered. Harry took a step forward. You used my tongue without knowing what it meant, he said. You thought the language was a trick. It is a mark of blood, of ownership. Riddle shook his head. No, he said. That magic is through me, through my line. I am the heir. Harry laughed, short and harsh. Heir, he said. You are an orphan who found someone else's work and decided it was yours. Salazar pulsed in his mind. Pleased. Tell him who you are, he said. Not yet, Harry thought back. The basilisk slowly coiled between them. Huge head lowered almost to the floor. It waited, eyes on Harry, body tense. Harry kept his voice steady. Close your eyes, he hissed to the snake. Now, the basilisk obeyed. Heavy lids slid down over its eyes. Riddle snarled. You cannot do this, he shouted. I summoned it. You poked at the wards I left, Harry said. They answered because no one else tried for centuries. But this place knows my soul. That diary in your hand is a stolen fragment. He lifted his wand and pointed it at the diary. This is the real crime, he said. You broke yourself. For what? Fear of death. Short-sighted stunts. Riddle took a step forward, face tight. You know nothing, he spat. I will live forever. I will rule. You will rot, Harry said. Pieces of you buried in cursed objects while your mind slips. That is not power. It is fear wrapped in theatrics. Riddle's eyes flashed. Power is power, he said. People obey the wand that can kill them. True power does not have to shout, Harry said. True power reshapes the rules so no one can move without your leave. You chose noise over control. Salazar approved. You judge well, he said. Riddle lifted the diary higher. It does not matter what you say, he said. I have her soul. Every minute you talk, she fades. When she is gone, I take your place. In the world. In this body. In every story. Ginny made a weak sound at Harry's feet. Her fingers twitched. Harry's chest tightened. Enough, he said. He moved. At the same moment, Riddle screamed in Parseltongue at the basilisk. Kill him. The basilisk jerked, torn between voices. Its eyes were still closed, but it lunged, head swinging. Its bulk crashed into a pillar. Stone shattered. Water sprayed. Harry dove to the side. A wave of cold water hit him and knocked him off his feet. His wand flew from his hand and skidded across the floor. He tasted blood. His palms burned. Fawkes came in a flash of fire. 1 second the air over the basilisk was empty. The next, the phoenix hung there, wings spread, light bright and clean in the murk. Fawkes, Harry gasped. The phoenix shrieked, a hard, high sound that cut through his bones. It dove at the basilisk. The basilisk turned its blind head toward the sound. Fox raked its eyes with sharp claws. The eyes burst. Dark fluid spilled. The basilisk screamed, a horrible, ripping sound. It thrashed, smashing its head against the stone. Harry scrambled for his wand. Salazar shouted in his mind. "Move," he said. "Do not stand under it." Harry rolled as the huge body slammed down where he had been. Stone cracked. Water surged. The basilisk crashed into the statue and recoiled. Blind now, mouth open, fangs dripping. Harry grabbed his wand and pushed himself to his feet. His heart raced. His clothes clung to him. Every breath hurt. Riddle stood back, face twisted with rage. "Fine," he said. "Kill the girl instead. I will take what is left." He lifted the diary. Magic crackled around him like heat. Harry saw it. The link. The way Riddle flickered whenever the diary moved. "The diary is the anchor," Salazar said. "Destroy it and this cheap shadow dies." Harry knew that. Somewhere deep he had always known. "You made a Horcrux," he said. "You cut your soul and hid it in a school book." Riddle sneered. "I divided my soul," he said. "Secured my immortality." "You shoved a rotten piece of yourself into my school," Harry said. "Into my people. That is not immortality. That is litter." Riddle yelled. "Basilisk," he screamed in Parseltongue. "Tear him apart." The blind snake lunged again, jaws wide. Harry darted aside. The fangs hit the stone where he had stood. The impact cracked one fang. It snapped and skittered across the floor, ringing once before it slid to a stop. Harry stared at it. "There," Salazar said. "Venom." "Enough." Harry ran. The basilisk swung after him, body grinding over the floor. Fox shrieked again and swooped, strafing its head to draw it off. Harry sprinted for the fallen tooth. His feet slipped on wet stone. His lungs burned. He grabbed the fang. It was heavy and slick, sharp enough to cut his hand when his grip slipped. Pain flashed up his fingers. He did not let go. Blood ran down his palm and along the tooth. Riddle realized what he meant to do. "No," he shouted. He rushed at Harry, half solid, half mist. His face warped with fury. Harry turned toward him, diary in his other hand now, snatched from where Riddle had set it to gloat. He held the fang above it. "You are not my heir," Harry said. Riddle reached for him. His hand passed almost through Harry's arm, cold and tingling. Harry drove the fang down. The diary shrieked. Not with sound, but with magic. Ink exploded out of the hole, black and thick, splashing across Harry's hand and face. The chamber shook. Riddle screamed. His body twisted, stretched, and tore. "You cannot," he yelled. "I am you. I carry your name." Harry watched him fade. "You carry nothing of mine," Harry said softly. Riddle reached toward him one last time, eyes wide with hate, and then vanished. The scream cut off. The air went still. The basilisk gave one last shudder and collapsed, huge body settling in a final coil. The smell of its blood and venom filled the chamber, sharp and thick. Harry staggered. The fang slipped from his fingers and clattered to the floor. His cut hand throbbed. Ink and blood mixed on his skin. He wiped it on his ruined robes. Fox fluttered down to his shoulder, light and warm. The phoenix pressed its head against his cheek and made a soft sound, almost like a question. "I am fine," Harry said, voice rough. "You are lying," Salazar said. "But you are alive. That is enough for now." He looked at Ginny. She lay still, colorless. The diary lay destroyed beside her, smoking slightly. Harry dropped to his knees by her again. "Ginny," he said. He put his ink-streaked hand on her shoulder and shook gently. "Ginny, wake up." For a moment nothing happened. Then she gasped and jerked. Her eyes flew open. They were huge and terrified. She tried to scramble away and slipped, hands scrabbling on the wet stone. "No," she babbled. "No, please, I did not mean to, I did not, please do not make me right again, I am sorry, I am sorry." Harry grabbed her wrists, firm but not rough. "Ginny," he said, "look at me." She choked on a sob and looked up. Her gaze jumped from his ink-stained face to the shattered diary to the dead basilisk behind him. Her breath came in fast, shallow pants. "Harry," she whispered. "Yes," he said. She stared at him like she was not sure he was real. "You are not him," she said. "No," Harry said. "He is gone." She shook her head. tears spilling over. I tried, she said. I tried to stop. I tried to throw it away. But it kept calling. He kept talking. He used my hands. He used my voice. He made me write on the walls. He made me. Her words dissolved into sobs. Harry tightened his grip for a second, then let one hand slide up to her shoulder. He is gone, he repeated. I killed the diary. He cannot use you again. Ginny blinked hard, her gaze fixed on his face. You stabbed it, she whispered. You looked like. She trailed off. Like what? Harry asked. She swallowed. Like him, she said. Like Riddle. But also not. You sounded older when you spoke in that language. Parseltongue, Harry said. She flinched. You understood, he said. Sometimes, she said. Not the words, but the feel. I could feel him in my head. Echoes. And then when you came in, it was worse. Different. Stronger. The chamber felt full. Her eyes went to his scar. That mark, she said. It moved. When you spoke. Harry touched his forehead without thinking. The skin was warm under his fingers. He considered lying. Telling her it was nothing. That the chamber was strange. That she was just shaken. She had just watched him command a basilisk and destroy a Horcrux. And she remembered how it felt. Do not lie, Salazar said quietly. She is not stupid. Harry exhaled. You are right, he said to Ginny. I am not only Harry Potter. Ginny froze. What does that mean? She whispered. He held her gaze. It means there is someone else in my head, he said. That is one way to put it, Salazar said dryly. Harry almost smiled. An old wizard, Harry went on. From a very long time ago. He was here when Hogwarts was built. He is part of me now. Ginny stared. You mean? She began. He cut her off with a small shake of his head. I am still me, he said. You saw that. I came down here. I fought for you. I did not leave you. That was me. She blinked fast. And the rest, she asked. The way you talked to Riddle. The way you stood. It did not feel like a 12-year-old. Harry shrugged one shoulder. That is the old part, he said. She gave a shaky laugh at that. Old part, she repeated. Her eyes filled with tears again. Are you going to hurt me? She asked. The question hit harder than any blow. Harry's fingers dug into the wet stone. No, he said at once. Ginny frowned. Even if I know too much, she said. Harry went quiet. He did not need legitimacy to read the fear under her words. She had been used as a tool for months. Every secret turned into a chain. Every weakness turned into control. Riddle would have erased her or kept her as a pet. Harry was not Riddle. You are useful, Salazar said. She sees things. She is a Weasley, but she is not a fool. Keep her. Harry ignored the word useful for a second and focused on Ginny. You are alive because I chose to come down here, he said. Her eyes flicked to the dead basilisk, then back. That sounds cold, she said. It is the truth, he said. I am not going to dress it up. You were dying. I made a choice. I will not throw that choice away now by turning you into something I have to destroy later. Her breath hitched. That is not very comforting, she said. No, he said. But it is honest. She stared at him for a long moment. So what am I to you? She asked softly. Harry thought about it. You are a witness, he said. You saw what Riddle did. You saw what I did to him. You have a clear head even after all that. You can lie when you need to. You can keep your mouth shut when you have to. Her shoulders shook. You do not know that, she said. I watched you all year, he said. You tried to throw the diary away. You hid what was happening so no one else would get pulled in. That took more strength than most adults here have. She blinked. You were watching me, she asked. Harry nodded once. I watch everyone, he said. Salazar hummed in agreement. Ginny looked down at her hands. They were still shaking. So you think I can be useful, she said. Yes, he said. But that is not the only reason. She looked up. I do not like watching good tools break, he said. She stared at him, then let out a weak laugh that sounded half hysterical. That is the worst compliment I have ever heard, she said. Probably, Harry said. She wiped her eyes on her sleeve. What do you want from me? She asked. Loyalty, Salazar said at once. Harry did not repeat that word out loud. For now, he said, I want you to rest. When we go up there, people will ask what happened. You can tell them Riddle used you. That is true. You can tell them I killed the diary. That is also true. She nodded slowly. What about the rest? She asked. You speaking like him. The snake. The way the chamber listened. You keep that to yourself for now, Harry said. She frowned. Because it would scare them, she said. Yes, Harry said. And because I am not ready for them to know who I am. Her gaze sharpened at that. Who you are, she repeated. He looked back at the giant stone face. One day, he said quietly, I will stand above ground and say my name out loud. When that happens, I want people who already chose to stand beside me. Not because I tricked them. Because they understood and chose anyway. Ginny followed his gaze to the statue. Her fingers curled on the wet floor. Are you asking me to choose now? She asked. No, Harry said. I am telling you what will come. For now you survived. That is enough. He paused, then added, you do not owe me anything. You did not ask for this. If you decide later that you hate me, that is your right. Salazar made a soft, irritated sound. You are sentimental, he said. Shut up, Harry thought. Ginny looked at him like she was trying to see all the way through. You scare me, she said. He nodded. That is fair, he said. But, she went on, you also came alone into a place that could have killed you to drag me out. You could have turned and left when you saw Riddle. You did not. Harry shrugged. Leaving you would have been stupid, he said. She smiled a little at that. You keep saying things that sound awful and true at the same time, she said. Welcome to my life, Harry said. She took a slow breath. If I tell anyone what I saw, she said, what would you do? He held her gaze. I would adapt, he said. I would change my plans. I would try not to hurt you if I could avoid it. But you would force me to waste time on you instead of on bigger threats. Ginny nodded, face pale. So telling is stupid, she said. Yes, Harry said. She looked at her hands again. I am tired of being stupid, she said quietly. Something in his chest eased. Good, he said. Fawkes nudged his ear and then hopped down onto the floor beside Ginny. The phoenix crooned softly and brushed its head against her arm. Warmth spread where the feathers touched. Some color came back into her cheeks. She reached out and touched the bird with shaking fingers. Why is he helping? She whispered. Because I am still, on paper, Dumbledore's boy, Harry said. Ginny snorted. That is a strange way to put it, she said. It is a strange life, Harry said. He heard distant shouting through the chamber walls. Ron, maybe. Rocks moving. Time was passing. We have to go, he said. Ginny nodded and tried to stand. Her legs buckled. Harry caught her and hauled her up. She leaned on him, light and shaky. You are freezing, he said. So are you, she said. Fair, he said. Fawkes fluttered up again and landed on his shoulder. The phoenix gripped his robe with careful talons. Harry looked at the huge dead basilisk one more time. You made that, Ginny whispered. No, Harry said. But the man in my head did. Is he angry? She asked. Harry listened. Salazar was quiet, but his presence was heavy. And myself mostly, Salazar said. For trusting this place to men who let it rot. He is disappointed, Harry said simply. In me, she asked. In Riddle, Harry said. In the school. In a lot of things. Not in you. Ginny let out a breath she had been holding. All right, she said. She looked up at him again. You said you wanted people who understand and still choose, she said. Yes, Harry said. I do not understand yet, she said. But I know Riddle was worse. And you killed him. You saved me. I can live with being scared of you if it means you are on our side. Our side, he repeated. She nodded. Yours, she said. And mine. And maybe the world's if you feel like it. He huffed out a laugh. That is a big list, he said. You can handle it, she said. You already talk like you own the place. Salazar sounded very satisfied at that. She will do, he said. Harry looked down at Ginny Weasley, small and stubborn and still shaking but looking him in the eye. All right, he said. For now you rest. Later we talk about what you remember. Properly. She nodded. And until then, he said, you keep my secrets. And I keep yours. Deal, she whispered. Fawkes spread his wings. Light flared. The phoenix grabbed them both by the shoulders. Harry had one last look at the dead snake, the shattered diary, and the stone face of Salazar Slytherin watching from the wall. Then the chamber fell away in a rush of fire and air as they flew back up toward the waiting world. Sources, legilimens. The word slammed into Harry before he could breathe. The office around him ripped away. Cold stone? Shelves? the strange smell of ingredients, all gone. He was back on the Quidditch pitch, rain in his face, wood shouting. Then it snapped and he was under the stairs at Privet Drive, small and hungry, while Uncle Vernon shouted through the door. Then that tore apart and he was in the chamber again, ink and blood on his hands, Riddle screaming as the diary melted. All of it rushed past at once. Harry tried to grab one memory and hold it. Everything blurred under pressure. His heart hammered. His throat felt tight. "Do not cling," Salazar said in his mind, sharp and calm. "Let the surface fall. Pull him in." Harry stopped fighting the drag. For a heartbeat he let the spell hit. Snape's presence pushed through his thoughts like a hooked blade. It was cold and sharp and full of contempt. It drove toward the chamber memory, toward Ginny on the floor, toward the basilisk, hungry for weakness and secrets. "Now," Salazar said. Harry twisted. He did not know how to explain it in normal words. Felt like turning a mirror in the dark. 1 second Snape was the one leaning into his mind. The next, Harry caught the pressure, shifted it, and shoved back. The world lurched. Suddenly he was not in his own head. He was in Snape's. He stood in a dim sitting room that smelled of damp and old smoke. A thin boy with greasy hair hunched over a table, hands clenched, listening to a man shout in the next room. The words were slurred and full of spit. A woman sobbed, short and tired. The boy did not move. His jaw was tight. There were bruises on his wrist. Harry felt the anger under that still face. It was hot and sharp. "Snape." The scene snapped away. A new one slammed in. Platform 9 3/4. A teenage Snape stood near a pillar, worn case in hand, staring at a red-haired girl who laughed with a tall boy. The boy was already in school robes, hair messy, wand tucked behind his ear as he talked too loud. "James." Harry watched Lily throw her head back and laugh at something James said. Snape watched too, his hand tight around the handle of his case. His shoulders were stiff, like he was braced for a blow. "You cannot be near her now," Salazar said quietly. "She is gone. This is a memory, nothing more. Use it." Harry shoved again, deeper. A classroom. Dark. Snape, older now, robe sleeves rolled up, wand hand steady. Dumbledore stood opposite him, face lined and tired, eyes pale. "You are sure, Severus?" Dumbledore said. Snape's voice was raw. "He means to kill them," he said. "He will go after the child." Lily, Harry thought. The air in the memory felt thin. "What will you give me in return?" Dumbledore asked. "Anything," Snape said. His voice cracked on the word. Salazar made a small sound in Harry's head. "There is the hook," he said. The memory wavered. Harry pushed harder, heart racing. He knew he was bending the spell now, not just riding it. Snape's mind fought him, walls slamming up. Harry could feel the resistance, thick and heavy. But he had centuries of practice sitting behind his eyes. Another memory surfaced. Green light. A house. A woman screaming. "Not that one," Salazar said sharply. "That belongs to you, not him." Harry jerked away from the flash before it formed. The scene shattered. The world snapped back. Harry stumbled. His knees hit stone. His palms slapped down on the cold floor of Snape's office. His head pounded. Sweat trickled down his spine. He sucked in a breath like he had been underwater. Shelves loomed around him. A cauldron sat on a side table, steam curling from it. There was a crack in the far wall near the door. Snape stood across from him, wand still raised. His own chest heaved. A line of sweat glistened at his temple. His black eyes were wide for once, shocked, before the usual hate snapped back into place. Harry lifted his head. His scar throbbed, the serpent mark warm under the skin. They stared at each other. "You will stand," Salazar said quietly. Harry pushed himself up. His legs shook. He did not show it. Snape spoke first. His voice was low and rough. "What did you see?" he said. Harry wiped one hand on his robe. Came away damp. "Enough," he said. Snape's hand tightened on his wand. "Answer the question," he said. Harry let the silence stretch for a moment. His breathing slowed. His mind kept replaying the look on Snape's face when he said anything. He saw the boy in that cramped room, the teenager on the platform, The desperate man in front of Dumbledore. Testing, Salazar said. See how he reacts. Harry tilted his head. Which part bothers you more, he asked. That someone saw you begging Dumbledore, or that someone saw you watching my mother? Snape's face went dead white. His wand lifted a fraction like he meant to cast again. You will not take that tone with me, Potter, he hissed. Salazar smiled inside Harry's mind. There, he said. We have his full attention now. Harry did not lower his gaze. You used legilimency on me first, he said. You ripped through my memories without asking. If you do not like the taste when it goes the other way, stop using the spell. You twisted it, Snape snapped. That was not a normal rebound. That was deliberate. He took a step forward. The hem of his robe brushed the floor. Who taught you that? He demanded. Harry let his shoulders relax just a little. No one, he said. Snape laughed, short and ugly. Do not insult my intelligence, he said. Even the Dark Lord did not bend legilimency like that as a third year. Harry said nothing. Snape moved closer until the desk was between them. You went looking, he said slowly. You did not just defend. You hunted. Harry could feel Snape's mind pressing at his edges even without the spell word. His passive legilimency caught the intent. Suspicion. Fear. A tight knot of old grief. He is trying to read your surface, Salazar murmured. Let him see what you choose. Harry looked up into those dark eyes and thought of the chamber. Of Riddle screaming as the diary died. Of the basilisk bowing its head. Of Salazar's voice saying, this is yours. He did not think of Lily. He did not think of the cupboard or the times he wanted to hex Uncle Vernon. He let Snape see control, cold and solid. Snape's nostrils flared. You are not him, he said, almost to himself. Harry blinked. Not who, he asked. Snape sneered. The idiot who walked into my classroom 2 years ago, he said. The child who could not keep his mouth shut and brood like a troll. Something changed. His gaze flicked to Harry's forehead. Since the stone, he added. Harry felt his fingers twitch. Careful, Salazar warned. He is not a fool. Snape lowered his wand. Not by much, but enough. Sit, he said. Harry did not move. You throw me to the floor with a mind hex, Harry said. Then tell me to sit like a trained goblin. No. Snape's eyes narrowed. Most students would not speak to me like that, he said. I am not most students, Harry said. Salazar gave a small approving hum. Snape studied him for a long moment. The ticking of a small brass clock on the shelf filled the room. Finally Snape moved to the chair behind his desk and sat. His hand still rested on his wand. Very well, he said. Stand if you prefer. We will not waste time on posturing. Harry almost laughed at that. You started with posturing, he said. Enough, Snape snapped. He leaned forward. You will tell me what you are, he said. Harry shrugged a shoulder. I am Harry Potter, he said. Snape's lip curled. Do you think I am blind, he asked. Do you think I have not seen you change subjects in class before I even finish the question? Do you think I have not felt your mind watching mine when you think my back is turned? So he noticed, Salazar said. Amused. Good. Harry met his eyes. You feel it because you are good at this yourself, he said. Snape's face stayed tight. Legilimency is not a game, he said. No, Harry said. It is a weapon. A small pause. Where did you learn that? Snape asked. Harry let a breath out through his nose. Inside, Salazar rolled some ancient phrase across his tongue. Old etiquette. Old courts. Old conversations in torch-lit halls. May I? He asked. Harry gave a small mental nod. His next words came out smoother, older. From the man who perfected it, he said. Snape's hand tightened on his wand again. You are 12, he said. 13, Harry corrected. You keep mixing me up with first-year me. Stop. Snape's eyes narrowed further. Who is in there with you, he said. Harry gave him a thin smile. You really want the answer, he asked. Snape said nothing. Harry stepped closer to the desk. The wood was scarred near the edge. Dried splashes marked where potions had spilled in the past. His mind catalogued it all without effort. He spoke in a low, even tone. You grew up in a house where magic was an escape and a curse, he said. You clung to the art because it was the only thing that made you feel less powerless. You built every skill you have by yourself, one book at a time. You hate that the world still treats you as less because of your blood. Snape's jaw clenched. Stop, he said. Harry did not. You came to this school and watched Gryffindors rewarded for recklessness while your craft was ignored. Harry went on. You found your house under my name, warped by years of bigotry and fear. You tried to use it anyway. That is enough, Snape hissed. His magic surged. The lamps on the wall flickered. Harry rested his hands on the back of the chair in front of him. His fingers dug into the wood. You served one master who called himself my heir, Harry said. He treated you like dirt and still you knelt because he promised power and respect. When he fell, you ran to the man standing on the opposite side and sold him your loyalty for a chance to save one person who mattered. Snape's face twisted. Silence, he shouted. The word cracked like a spell even though it was not one. Harry stopped talking. The room rang. Snape stood so fast his chair scraped. His wand was in his hand again, pointed straight at Harry. You do not speak her name, he said in a low, shaking voice. Harry felt the urge to do it anyway, just to see how far Snape would go. Salazar cut across that thought like a knife. Do not stab the tool you are about to use, he said. Harry held up one hand, palm open. I did not say her name, he said. Snape's eyes were wild. You came close, he said. Harry let a beat pass. You loved Lily, he said simply. Snape's breath hitched. The wand tip trembled. Harry watched him. This is not mercy, Salazar said. This is leverage. Show him you can see the worst of him and have not used it yet. I have been in your head for 5 minutes and I already know more about you than most of the staff, Harry said. If I wanted to hurt you with that, I would have done it already. Snape swallowed. The movement was harsh. How, he asked. The words scraped out of him. Harry shrugged again. You opened the door, he said. You cast legilimens. I just walked in a different direction. That is not how it works, Snape said. It is how I use it, Harry said. He let a small smile touch his mouth. You are not the only person who spent years in this castle perfecting ways to look into other people's minds, he added. The silence stretched again. The clock ticked. The potion in the side cauldron gave a soft pop. Snape lowered his wand a fraction. Who are you? He asked again. Harry let Salazar step forward more fully than he usually allowed. His spine straightened. His gaze sharpened. The small shift in posture felt natural, like slipping on an old coat. He answered in a tone he had never used in class. It was calmer, flatter, with weight under it. You already know the answer, he said. Snape's eyes flicked to the serpent scar. Founder's magic, he whispered. He reached out before he seemed to think about it and grabbed Harry by the chin, fingers digging in, turning his face toward the lamplight. Harry let him. The scar had twisted after the stone. It no longer looked like a neat lightning mark. The skin was a faint raised line that curved and split like a forked tongue. Snape stared. His thumb brushed the edge of it. Ancient design, he said under his breath. Old wards. The chamber. He dropped his hand and stepped back as if the contact had burned. No, he said. Impossible. You teach in a school with a talking hat, ghosts, and moving staircases, Harry said. That word has lost meaning. Snape looked at him. Really looked, the way Harry had seen Dumbledore look at him in the hospital wing. The boy he hated for looking like James was still there. The messy hair, the green eyes. But something sat behind those eyes that did not belong to a normal 13-year-old. Snape saw it. Harry saw him see it. He thinks the word founder, Salazar said quietly. Nudge him. You are my head of house, Harry said. Snape snorted. You are not in Slytherin, he said. That is a label on a table, Harry said. Not the truth under the skin. His voice dropped. You feel it, he added. The house magic. The way it pulls when I am in the room. Snape went very still. Harry knew he was right. He had felt it himself. The Slytherin common room shifted ever so slightly when he walked past the corridor entrance below. The wards whispered when he spoke Parseltongue. The snakes on the carved door to the chamber had moved like they recognized him. Salazar had built those things. Snape had lived with Slytherin magic his whole life. He would know its touch. You are saying you are, he began, then stopped. Say it, Salazar said. Let him choke on it first. Harry held Snape's gaze. I am what this castle made your house in the first place, he said. Snape stared. His lips shaped the title but no sound came out. Harry waited. At last Snape forced the words. You claim to be Salazar Slytherin, he said. Harry shrugged a shoulder. Words are cheap, he said. I do not need to claim. I exist. That is enough. Snape let out a sound that was half laugh, half breathless curse. Arrogant, he said. Just like, he cut himself off. Just like who? Harry asked. Snape shook his head. You are playing a dangerous game, he said. Even if I believed you, which I do not, this is knowledge people would kill for. Now we get to the real point, Salazar murmured. Harry leaned his elbows on the back of the chair in front of him. You will keep it to yourself, he said. Snape laughed properly this time. You tell me a mad story and expect my silence, he said. On what ground? Harry lifted his wand. He did not cast. He just pointed it at the space between them. On the ground that you know I can rip through your shields and lay your life bare if I choose, he said. Snape's wand jerked up again. Try it, he said. Harry held up his other hand. Or, Harry said, we can stop testing who can hurt who more and talk about who wants what. Snape frowned. Wants, he repeated. Harry nodded. Yes, he said. You want Lily's son alive. You want the Dark Lord gone. You want Dumbledore to keep trusting you because that is your cover and your penance. You want Slytherin House to stop being a nest of rabid children who think cruelty is clever. Snape's eyes flickered at that last bit. Harry went on. I want my mind properly shielded from anyone who thinks they can use me, he said. I want to use legitimacy on purpose, not just as a reflex. I want real potions instruction, not the watered-down rubbish you feed people you hate. Snape stiffened. You have the standard syllabus, he said. I have a founder in my skull, Harry said. Do not insult me with the syllabus you use to keep Gryffindors out of your way. Salazar gave a small pleased hum. He reminds me of me when I was your age, he said. Terrible temper. Good spine. Snape rubbed 2 fingers over the bridge of his nose like he had a headache. You expect me to train you, he said. Yes, Harry said. Why? Snape asked. Harry smiled, slow and thin. Because if you do not, someone else will, he said. And then you will not be the one who understands what I am and how to handle me. Snape stared at him. You are threatening me, he said. I am offering you a place at the table, Harry said. The room went very quiet. Snape sat down again, movement stiff. He folded his hands in front of him on the desk, wand lying between them. Explain, he said. Harry took a breath. Salazar settled into a quieter place in his mind. Still present. Guiding word choice without shoving. You serve Dumbledore because you think his plan is the only way to stop Voldemort, Harry said. You hate his sentimentality, but you have no better option. That is not entirely wrong, Snape said. Harry nodded. I am telling you there is another path, he said. One where I do not die on cue to clear his board. Snape flinched. It was tiny, but Harry saw it. You do not know what you are talking about, Snape said. Harry smiled without humor. I saw enough in his mind after the stone, he said. He is grooming me to walk into Riddlewand one day. He will pretend it is my choice. Snape said nothing. You do not like that, Harry said. Snape's jaw clenched again. If you are right, Snape said slowly, then I should run to Dumbledore this moment and tell him you are compromised. That you have another voice in your head. Harry tilted his head. Do you want to try? He asked. Snape looked at him. Harry let him see, just for a second, the chamber again. The diary turning to sludge. The basilisk bowing. The parcel tongue that made stone listen. Snape's pupils shrank. No, he said. There it is, Salazar said softly. He is not stupid. Harry nodded once. Good, he said. He straightened. Here is my offer, he said. You teach me occlumency properly. You teach me how to use legitimacy without leaving a mark. You teach me the kind of potions that keep people alive or give them reason to listen even when they want to run. Snape sat back. That is a long list, he said. I am patient, Harry said. Liar, Salazar muttered. Amused. Snape drummed his fingers once on the desk, then stilled them. And what do I receive in return, he asked. Harry counted, not out loud, but in his head. You keep your secrets, Harry said. I do not tell anyone what I saw in your mind. I do not mention Lily. I do not mention the vow. Snape's shoulders went rigid. You have no idea the forces you are speaking about, he said. Harry shrugged. I know enough, he said. I know you put yourself under Dumbledore's command because you could not live with what you had done. You owe him. That debt does not vanish. I am not trying to break it. What are you trying to do? Snape said. Use you, Salazar said cheerfully. Harry translated it into something more polite. I am trying to add another layer, he said. You still spy for Dumbledore. You still play your part. But in private, here, you report to me as well. You tell me what he plans. You tell me what the Dark Lord might try if he returns. You help me shape Slytherin back into something that is not a breeding ground for idiots. Snape stared at him. You really believe you can fix this school, he said. Harry thought of the chamber, the way the basilisk had lowered its head when he spoke. He thought of McGonagall listening when he requested runes and arithmancy. He thought of Ginny down there, small and shaking, still choosing to stand with him after everything. Yes, he said. Snape's lips twisted. That is not bravery, he said. That is arrogance on a level that would make Black proud. Harry did not rise to the bait. It is not arrogance if I succeed, he said calmly. Snape gave a dry laugh that sounded tired. Spoken like a true Slytherin, he said. Salazar almost preened at that. Snape went quiet. His gaze dropped to his hands, then lifted again to Harry's face. You expect me to accept you as my lord, he said slowly. Harry blinked. Snape continued. Because that is what you are asking, he said. Not in public. There you remain Potter, insufferable golden boy. But in private you want me to bow to the ghost in your head. Harry frowned. I am not asking you to kneel, he said. Not yet, Salazar murmured. Snape shook his head. You do not understand Slytherin tradition, he said. There is always a master. A true head behind the crest. If you are who you say, that would be you. Harry let that sit. The idea felt strange. Not wrong. Just heavy. You hate my face, he said quietly. Snape flinched again. Yes, he said. Harry waited. Snape looked away. But I love the woman whose eyes you have, he added in a flat voice. And if there is any chance that this thing you are, this merge or whatever you call it, keeps that boy alive and ends the Dark Lord in the process, I would be a greater coward than my father if I refused. The admission hung between them like a third person. For once, Salazar did not comment. Harry nodded slowly. So, he said. Snape drew in a long breath. When he spoke next, his voice had shifted. It was still harsh, still edged, but there was a strange formality in it now. Very well, he said. In this room, under my wards, I will acknowledge the truth under the scar. He met Harry's eyes head-on. Lord Slytherin, he said. The words hit like a physical thing. Magic stirred in the air. It felt subtle and deep, like a very old ward waking up and listening. The lamps flickered once, then steadied. The temperature in the room dropped a fraction. Harry felt Salazar straighten in his mind, something ancient taking that title and setting it on like a cloak. That is better, Salazar said, voice low and grimly pleased. Harry swallowed. His throat felt dry. You do not have to call me that every time, he said, trying to steer the moment back to something he could walk in. Snape snorted. You are uncomfortable with a fraction of what you demand, he said. Amusing. Harry rolled his eyes. Just call me Potter in class, he said. Or whatever name you already use when you are annoyed. The corner of Snape's mouth twitched. It was almost a smile, though it looked like it hurt. Very well, he said. In public you remain Potter. In private, you will tolerate the respect your position deserves. Harry pulled a face. Sounds exhausting, he said. You wanted power, Snape said dryly. It is rarely comfortable. Harry could not argue with that. Snape leaned back again. We will need rules, he said. Of course he wants rules, Salazar said. This is how he keeps himself from drowning. Work with it. Harry nodded. 1. Snape said, you will not enter my mind without my consent unless our lives are at risk. Harry opened his mouth. Snape cut him off with a sharp look. You proved you can do it, he said. That is enough. I will not have you rummaging through my history every time you feel curious. Harry closed his mouth. All right, he said. 2. Snape went on. I will teach you occlumency and legilimency under the cover of private remedial classes for your supposed difficulties with dementors and nightmares. Dumbledore will accept that explanation. He already worries about what you saw. Harry nodded again. 3. Snape said, our exchange of information goes both ways. You feed me everything you see in Dumbledore's mind. You do not edit to make yourself look clever. If I suspect you of playing games, the agreement ends. Harry thought about that. Fine, he said. For, Snape added, you do not extend this knowledge of your nature to any other staff without my approval. Harry raised a brow. Not even McGonagall, he asked. Especially not McGonagall, Snape said. That woman would march straight to Dumbledore in a heartbeat. Harry considered Ginny. What about students, he asked. Snape frowned. You already told someone, he said slowly. Harry held his gaze. One person, he said. They almost died because of Riddle. They saw enough that lying would have been an insult. Snape sighed. It sounded like something heavy leaving his chest. A Weasley, he said. Harry did not answer. Of course, Snape muttered. He rubbed his face with one hand. Very well, he said. You will give me the name later and tell me exactly what they know. We cannot undo it. We can only manage it. Harry nodded. Workable, Salazar said. Harry felt his shoulders loosen a fraction. The tight, ready-to-hex feeling eased. His heartbeat slowed. He realized suddenly how tired he was. His head throbbed with a dull ache. His eyes stung. Snape must have seen something on his face, because he snorted again. You look like you have been run over by a hippogriff, he said. Harry rolled his eyes. You feel like you have a broken nose in your memory and a drunk father, Harry said. Snape's expression shut down in an instant. You are not funny, he said. Harry shrugged. Teenagers cope badly, he said. You told me that once in detention. This is me coping badly. Snape gave him a long, flat look. Get out, he said. Harry blinked. That is it, he asked. For tonight, Snape said. You will return after dinner tomorrow. Same time. Bring your wand and leave your Gryffindor bravado at the door. Harry smirked a little. No promises, he said. Snape pointed at the door. Go, he said. Before I change my mind and hex you into next week. Harry straightened. His legs still felt a little shaky, but he walked without showing it. He picked up his bag from where it sat by the door. The strap dug into his shoulder. He paused with his hand on the handle. Snape spoke again, almost grudging. Potter, he said. Harry looked back. Yes, he said. Snape's eyes were dark and unreadable. If you are lying about any of this, Snape said slowly, if you turn out to be another Riddle in new clothes, I will kill you myself. Harry held his gaze. Fair, he said. Snape nodded once. Get out, he repeated. Harry opened the door and stepped into the corridor. The dungeons were cool and silent. Torchlight flickered on the damp stone. Somewhere far off a group of Hufflepuffs laughed, the sound muted by walls and corners. Harry leaned against the wall for a second, letting his head rest back. His knees actually trembled now that he was out of Snape's sight. His heart pounded less, but the echo of that legitimacy hit still sat at the base of his skull. You did well, Salazar said quietly. Harry snorted. I almost said her name just to spite him, he thought. Salazar hummed. You did not, he said. You chose control over temper. That is what matters. Harry pushed himself away from the wall and started up the corridor. His shoes were silent on the flagstones. You trust him, he asked inside. No, Salazar said. I respect his skill and his pain. Trust will take time. Harry nodded. Same, he thought. He turned a corner and nearly walked straight into Ginny. She stood with her back to the wall, arms folded, as if she had been waiting there for a while. Her hair was in a loose plait over one shoulder. Her cheeks were flushed, maybe from the cold. Harry stopped. What are you doing in the dungeons? He asked. She raised her brows. Hello to you too, she said. He exhaled and tried again. Hi, he said. Hi, she said back. They stood there for a second in awkward silence. She tilted her head. You look like you got hit by a bludger, she said. Harry huffed a laugh. You are the second person to say that in the last 5 minutes, he said. Who was the first? She asked. Snape, he said. Her eyes widened. You were with Snape for that long, she said. Harry nodded. Private lesson, he said. That is one way to describe it, Salazar muttered. Ginny frowned. He did not hurt you, did he? She asked. Harry thought about it. He tried, he said. I hurt him back. Now we have a deal. Ginny stared at him. You make that sound like trading chocolate frogs, she said. He shrugged. It was more shouting and mind-stabbing than sweets, he said. Ginny blinked, then snorted. Mind-stabbing, she repeated. That is a new one. Harry looked at her properly. You were waiting for me, he said. She shrugged, avoiding his eyes. Maybe, she said. Rumor got around that you were down here alone. Fred and George said Snape had that look like he was about to assign detention with blood quills. Harry frowned. He does not own those, he said. Ginny rolled her eyes. It was a joke, she said. Right, Harry said. He rubbed the back of his neck. The muscles there were tight. So, she said slowly, what happened? He thought about giving her some bland line. Snape was horrible, he would survive, nothing worth talking about. But she had been in the chamber. She had chosen to keep his secret. She had called him scary and on her side in the same breath. Do not tell her everything, Salazar said. But give her enough so she understands why Snape may change. That way she will not panic when he looks at you differently. Harry nodded to himself. He tried to rip through my head with legitimacy, Harry said. Ginny went pale. Is that legal, she asked. Harry snorted. Probably not, he said. But he has been doing it to students for years. I just noticed. She made a face. And she prompted. I turned it around on him, Harry said. Ginny stared. You what, she said. Harry shrugged. Pushed back, he said. I saw some of his memories. Enough to know how much he hates this job and how much he hates me looking like my dad. Enough to know he would rather hex himself than admit he cares about anyone. Ginny gave a short, shocked laugh at that. So you went into Snape's mind, she said. On purpose. Yes, Harry said. There was a beat of silence. I should be more horrified by that, she said slowly. You are not, Harry asked. She made a wobbly face. I am, she said. But I am also thinking that if anyone deserves you stomping through his brain for a bit, it is him. Harry almost smiled. Maybe, he said. Ginny looked at him closely. So what is the deal, she asked. He teaches me to close my mind and open it properly, Harry said. In return, he keeps his mouth shut about what I am and gives me the truth about Dumbledore's plans and anything he knows about Voldemort. Ginny sucked in a breath. That is not a small bargain, she said. No, Harry said. Her gaze softened. You are tired, she said quietly. Harry rolled his shoulders. A bit, he said. She stepped closer. You did not have to tell me, she said. I promised I would, Harry said. She nodded. Do you trust him, she asked. Not yet, Harry said. She nodded again. But you will use him, she said. Yes, Harry said. Ginny looked him in the eyes. And if he betrays you, she asked. Harry held her gaze. Then I break him, he said quietly. Ginny shivered. She did not step back. Right, she said. She let out a breath. I should go, she said. If Percy sees me down here, he will think I am joining a secret cult. Harry snorted. We are a secret cult, he said. She elbowed him in the arm. Only if we get better robes, she said. He huffed a laugh. Gryffindor red does not suit cults, he said. Ginny grinned a little. You are awful, she said. I am tired, he said. She stepped back, then hesitated. Harry, she said. Yes, he said. Her cheeks flushed a bit darker. Just, she said, do not let Snape break you. You scared me in the chamber, but you were still you. I do not want to come back from summer and find a stranger wearing your face. Harry felt something twist under his ribs. I will not, he said. Promise, she said. He hesitated for half a second, then nodded. Promise, he said. She searched his face, then nodded back. Good, she said. She reached out, grabbed his sleeve, and tugged him down just enough to press a quick kiss to his cheek. His skin burned there. He blinked, startled. Ginny stepped back fast, face bright red. That was, she said, for saving me twice. Twice, he asked. Chamber and now, she said. If Snape really is going to help you not fall apart, that saves me as well. Harry touched his cheek. He felt oddly off balance. Not in a bad way. You know this complicates things, Salazar said dryly. Harry ignored him. Thank you, he said to Ginny. She ducked her head. You are welcome, she said. Then she turned and headed for the stairs, plate swinging. Harry watched her go until she turned a corner and vanished. He stood alone in the dungeon corridor, cheek warm, mind aching. A new agreement sitting heavy on his shoulders. A spy for Dumbledore had just called him Lord. A girl he nearly lost had just kissed him and claimed a little piece of his future. Salazar spoke softly. The board is shifting, he said. Harry nodded. Good, he thought. He pushed off the wall and headed for the common room. Each step steady. The weight in his mind no lighter but finally. for once pointed in the direction he chose. Sources: the Beauxbatons carriage had already landed by the lake when Harry stopped watching the display and started listening to people instead. The great hall was full of noise. Students shouted and clapped. Benches scraped. The last of the feast still steamed on plates. At the staff table, Fudge laughed too loudly at one of his own comments. Hagrid wiped his hands on his coat and stared at the doors like a child waiting for sweets. Harry let their faces blur. He let his passive skill reach. Excitement poured off the hall in messy waves. Curiosity, pride, a sharp mix of fear and thrill from the older years at the word tournament. Under that, quieter and cleaner, came the thoughts of the adults. Dumbledore watches for unity. Salazar noted from his place in Harry's mind. He hopes danger will distract from the cracks. Harry brushed across the headmaster for a moment. Under the twinkle and wide smile was a tight line of worry. Dumbledore thought of old graves, old champions, bodies sent home in closed boxes. Then he pushed the memory away and smiled wider. McGonagall counted faces at the tables while she kept her spine straight. She was already building timetable adjustments in her head. Snape sat still, hands folded, eyes dark and flat, mind like a wall. Karkaroff, near the end of the staff table, smiled and thought about escape routes and debts. Harry felt all of it. He sat between Ron and Hermione and picked at a roast potato. Ginny sat a little way down at the same table, next to Neville, craning to see the far doors. So it is true, Ron muttered, eyes wide. Real foreign students. Proper tournament. Imagine the tasks. Dragons. Maybe giants. Giants would be impossible to control, Ronald, Hermione said. It would be a security nightmare. Harry flicked a glance at her. You sound like Dumbledore, he said. Hermione sniffed, but her cheeks went pink. He felt the moment Dumbledore decided the spectacle had gone on long enough. The headmaster pushed his chair back, rose and lifted his hands. The noise in the hall dropped fast, like a charm had fallen over the tables. Students, Dumbledore said, voice rich and warm. Tonight, Hogwarts welcomes two great schools, Beauxbatons Academy and Durmstrang Institute. The cheers came on cue. Harry watched the visiting students walk up the hall. The Beauxbatons group moved in an even line, robes neat, faces carefully composed. Their headmistress walked at the front, tall and steady, every step measured. Under her calm mask her thoughts flickered fast. She counted chandeliers, entrances, the distance from the staff table to the main doors. Professional, Salazar said. She scans for exits before she looks at the food. Harry shifted his gaze to the Durmstrang group. Their heavy cloaks swung as they marched. At the front, Victor Crumb stared at the floor with heavy eyes. He looked bored on the surface. Underneath, Harry felt sore muscles, tiredness, and a faint wish that people would stop shouting his name. Behind Crumb, Karkaroff glided with a smile that did not touch his eyes. His thoughts were busy. He ran numbers. How many ministry officials? How many Aurors? How many old enemies? He is afraid of discovery, Salazar said. Good. Fear makes people predictable. Dumbledore waited until everyone was seated. Then he clapped his hands once. Platters vanished. The hall cleared. As you have all heard, he said, this year we will host the Triwizard Tournament. A wave of excitement rolled across the room. Harry let it wash past. The tournament in days past, Dumbledore continued, was a test of courage, skill, and magical strength, and stupidity, Salazar said dryly. Too often, it was also a matter of tragedy, Dumbledore added. We have changed that. New rules, new safety nets, new wards. This will not be a reckless rush toward the grave. It will be a measured contest. He believes that, Salazar said. He is still wrong. Any contest with this many moving parts can be turned. Harry tapped his fingers on the table. The champions will be chosen by an impartial judge, Dumbledore said. The Goblet of Fire. The name dropped into the silence like a stone. Harry felt the pull of the hall rise again. Every student older than him leaned in as if the word had weight. Ron whispered, imagine if Fred or George got in. That would be brilliant. Hermione scowled. It would be reckless, she said. and they would probably blow something up. Harry barely heard them. An impartial judge, he thought. He felt the idea flicker in Dumbledore's mind. Old magic. Binding contracts. The illusion of fairness. Salazar hummed. A cup that burns names, he said. Symbols are simple. They can be twisted. Harry pushed his plate away. He did not care about the rest of the speech. He had heard enough. This is an opportunity, Salazar said. Not for glory, for control. Harry already knew. He was not going to let someone else decide how dangerous this year would be. Later that night, the goblet sat alone in an empty chamber off the great hall. Blue flames licking the air. The room smelled of stone and smoke. The carved walls drank in the light. Harry stood just inside the doorway, alone. His robes brushed the floor. He studied the cup for a long moment. It was simple to look at. Just a rough wooden cup set on a plinth. The flames inside cast shifting shadows on the stone. What do you think? He asked quietly inside his own head. Salazar examined it through his eyes. Old binding charm, he said. Strong but not subtle. Pulls at names and wraps them in a contract. Harry stepped closer. The heat prickled against his skin. He could feel the magic like pressure in the air. It pressed on his chest and hummed against his teeth. He let his legitimacy reach. Objects did not think, but magic left patterns. He caught a faint echo of other champions. Other names whispered into flame. Screams. Cheers. Blood on snow. He pulled back before the images settled. We cannot stop others from feeding it, Salazar said. But we can prepare. Harry drew his wand. He did not touch the goblet. Instead he crouched at the edge of the plinth and traced small shapes on the stone with the tip. Runes glowed faintly for a second before they sank into the surface and vanished. Detection, Salazar said. Clever boy. If someone tampers with it, Harry murmured. I want to know whose magic they used and what it smelled like. He layered the runes. Identity. Direction. Trace. If any spell twisted the binding or tried to force a name, his marks would record the pattern. You cannot stop the portkey if they hide it in the prize, Salazar warned. No, Harry said. But I can refuse to be blind when it happens. He straightened and stepped back. The goblet burned, calm and blue, as if nothing had changed. Harry did not put his name in. He watched older students do it. Fred and George tossed their parchment together and bowed to the cheering crowd. Others crept in alone, faces pale and set. The air in the entrance hall tasted sharp and hot from all the spells. Ron sighed every time a new group went in. If our birthday was a bit sooner, Ron complained. We could have tried. You would be dead, Hermione said. Or expelled. Or both. Harry leaned against the wall and kept his thoughts to himself. He had no need to throw his name at a fire to prove anything. The world already stared at him every time something went wrong. He would rather choose his moments. He felt Salazar nod in agreement. Control is not refusing the board, Salazar said. It is choosing when to move. Selection night came. The hall was full again. Candles floating overhead. The goblet sat near the staff table now. Flames burning white. Every student seemed to breathe in time with it. Names spat out one by one. Victor Crumb. Ron nearly jumped out of his seat. Of course, Ron muttered, clapping hard. Bulgaria will have posters for years. Fleur Delacour. Soft gasps rippled. Older boys at the table sat up straighter. Harry watched the French witch walk to the front with her head high. He brushed the edge of her surface thoughts. Cool focus. A sharp awareness of stares. A quiet, tired anger at being seen as an ornament. Cedric Diggory. Hufflepuff shook the hall with cheers. Cedric walked in a straight line, jaw set, eyes wide. Harry felt his nerves, his pride, his promise to make his house proud. Then the goblet flared again. Blue light shot out, brighter and higher than before. A scrap of parchment flew into Dumbledore's hand. The hall fell silent. Dumbledore read. His pupils shrank a fraction. Harry Potter. The world froze for a second. Harry did not move. Three things happened at once inside his mind. First, Salazar swore in a language Harry did not know. Second, the runes he had carved near the plinth flared to life in his senses. He felt the echo of the spell that had forced his name in. A signature of magic. Old, thin, twisted, familiar. Third. Every mind in the hall turned toward him. Ron gaped. Hermione grabbed his sleeve. Ginny went white, her hand clasped tight around her fork. "Get up," Salazar said. Slowly, Harry rose. He walked through the silence, robes rustling. The pupils of the goblet flickered in his senses as if the thing watched him. He kept his face calm. Inside, he followed the trail from his runes. The spell that had pushed his name had been guided by something that tasted of the diary and the snake and green light. Riddle, he thought. Of course, Salazar said. He would never waste such a stage. Harry reached Dumbledore. The headmaster looked down at him, expression unreadable. "Did you put your name in the goblet, Harry?" Dumbledore asked, voice mild. Harry held his gaze. "No," Harry said. "And I have proof." A flicker of surprise crossed Dumbledore's eyes. "Later," Harry added under his breath. Dumbledore hesitated for a heartbeat. Then he turned back to the hall. "The goblet has spoken," he said. "Harry Potter is a fourth champion." The noise hit like a wall. Shouts, accusations, jeers. The words cheat and attention-seeker and liar flashed in several minds around him. Harry did not flinch. He walked into the antechamber with the other champions and waited for the true game to start. The first task was dragons. Of course it was. Hagrid had whispered it at the edge of the forest, eyes wide with pride at his secret. Harry was not surprised. Wizards loved large dangerous creatures almost as much as they loved talking about large dangerous creatures. Ron thought it was brilliant. Hermione looked like she wanted to strangle every adult within reach. Ginny had been quiet when she heard. Jaw tight, eyes dark. Now the arena roared. Harry stood in the waiting tent and listened to the crowd. The stands creaked under the weight of people. Flags snapped in the wind. The smell of damp grass and dragon smoke seeped through the tent flap. Cedric vanished through the opening when his name was called. The roar of the crowd rose, then bent into sharp bursts of sound as the dragon moved. Harry sat on the edge of a plain wooden bench. He rolled his wand between his fingers. His heart beat hard but steady. He could picture the simple path in his head. Mount a broom. Fly fast. Duck flames. Grab the egg. It would work. It would also be exactly what everyone expected. Salazar sat with him inside his mind, quiet for once. "You remember what I told you," Salazar said. "Do not play to their story," Harry murmured. "Force them to watch mine." "Exactly," Salazar said. Harry had prepared. Runes were already marked in chalk across his left forearm under his sleeve. Another tiny set lay under his right cuff. He could feel them like warm threads against his skin. Protection. Redirection. Sound. Fleur went out after Cedric. Harry listened to the fight as much through her mind as through the crowd. She kept her focus tight. She used charms to blind and confuse, not brute force. Salazar approved of that. Krum faced his dragon next. Harry felt a flash of clear, brutal intent from the Durmstrang champion. Krum went for the eyes. Purposeful. Efficient. Not stupid, Salazar noted. Still messy. Then it was Harry's turn. He stepped out into the bright light. The arena was a wide bowl of churned earth and stone. The stands rose high around the edges. Dragons waited in distant enclosures, held by chains and thick spells. Harry's dragon crouched in front of a rocky nest, wings tucked close, scales dull where old scars marked its hide. The golden egg sat in the nest behind it. The beast lifted its head when he walked out. Yellow eyes narrowed. Smoke curled from its nostrils. His thoughts were not like a snake's. They were slower and hotter like thick liquid. Hunger, pain, rage. Harry stopped just beyond the painted line. He lifted his wand but did not raise it as if to curse. Instead he spoke. Not Parseltongue. That would be useless here. He used old words Salazar fed him. A calming chant meant for restless magic. The dragon hissed, a rough sound. Smoke flared brighter. It did not calm. Of course not, Salazar said. Words alone would not soothe a creature bred for war. Harry raised his left arm. He tapped the first rune cluster under his sleeve. Warmth flared under his skin. The air in front of him shimmered. A faint pattern spread across the ground between him and the dragon, lines of force like a net buried in the soil. The dragon opened its jaws. Fire roared toward him, bright and fierce. Harry stepped forward. The flame hit the unseen pattern. It split around him and arched away, pulled sideways into the ground where the runes drank it. The heat brushed his face but did not burn. The crowd screamed. Ludo Bagman in the judges' stand shouted something about daring blocks and shield work. Harry ignored him. He walked closer. Every step he took drew more of the dragon's fire down into the runes. The beast snarled and beat its wings. It snapped its jaws, confused when its breath kept curving away from the small human walking straight toward it. Harry tasted the beast's anger and fear on the air. He tapped the second cluster on his right arm. Sound twisted. The crackle of flame shifted. To the dragon, the noise of its own fire now echoed back from the opposite side, as if something behind it mocked and challenged. The creature turned its head, bellowed at empty air, and blasted flame at nothing. Harry used the distraction. He ran the last few steps, boots pounding the scorched earth, heat tight around him. He slipped past the dragon's shoulder, slid behind the nest, and grabbed the egg. The audience gasped. The dragon whipped its head back around too slow. It snapped at the spot where he had been, jaws closing with a dull crack on stone. Harry ducked and rolled out of reach. He straightened with the egg in his arms, chest heaving, sweat on his face. His shield runes cooled as they released the last of the stored fire into the ground. The scent of burned earth rose like steam. That, Salazar said with satisfaction, is how a champion behaves. No wild broom stunts. No reckless flight. Just planning and pressure. The judges stared. McGonagall's hand clutched the edge of the staff table. Snape watched, mouth tight, eyes bright with sharp interest. Karkaroff frowned, already calculating what this display might mean for his own position. Harry lifted the egg once in a calm short gesture, then walked off the field without a bow. The second task was colder. The clue inside the egg told him enough. Screeching noise when it opened over his bed. Words hidden in water. Screams of the lake. Drowned fragments about hostages and time. Hermione analyzed the riddle with fast, neat notes. Ron complained about the fog on the windows and the frost on the ground. Ginny watched Harry while she pretended to read. "You are going to get gillyweed," Ron said, nearly bouncing. "You will swim faster than anyone. You could ask Dobby. He likes you." Harry shook his head. "Brewing," he said. Hermione blinked. "A water-breathing potion," she guessed at once. "But that is advanced. You do not have time to learn it from scratch." Harry tilted his head. "Good thing I have a teacher who knows what he is doing," he said. Snape did not appreciate being told that he would help with a task, but he did it anyway. They worked in a sealed room under his office, away from prying eyes. Harry chopped, stirred, and counted under Snape's close watch. Every mistake cost him 2 more practice brews. By the time the task day came, Harry could have brewed the potion in his sleep. The lake lay gray and flat under a low sky. The stands had been set up along the shore. Students huddled in robes and scarves, breath puffing in white clouds. The smell of damp and fish and cold stone wrapped around everything. Harry stood at the water's edge with the other champions. Cedric flexed his hands and tried to hide how nervous he was. Crumb stared at the water, jaw tight. Fleur watched the judges stand, measuring. Harry drank the potion and felt his lungs shift. Gill slits opened at his neck with a faint sting. His fingers itched as webbing formed between them. The cannon sounded. Cold water closed over his head as he dived. Sound vanished in an instant. The world went green and dim. Harry kicked down, robes tugging around his legs. Bubbles slipped past his cheeks. The potion worked. His lungs pulled in water and sent air through his blood with each slow, careful breath. Salazar guided his path with calm directions. Left around that rock. Down past that tangle of weed. Avoid the Grindylow there. Harry saw the hostages long before the others reached them. They hung in a neat line near the lake bed, ropes tying them to a carved stone pillar. Hermione, Ron, Cho. A small blonde girl from Beauxbatons who had fleur eyes. The sight hit him like a fist. His heart lurched even though the potion slowed his pulse. For a second all he could see was Ginny on the floor of the chamber, pale and still. Focus, Salazar said. They are not dead. Yet. Harry swam closer. A merperson glared at him, trident ready. Her thoughts were wary. She had orders. 1 hostage per champion. No more. Harry stopped just outside her reach. He drew his wand and wrote quickly in the water with a charm that left lines of light instead of ink. The letters glowed in front of him. These people are not your bait, he wrote. The merperson frowned. She shook her head. She pointed at the ropes and at Harry and then at Ron. 1, her expression said. Harry shook his head. He pointed at all 4 hostages, then at himself, then at the surface. The marewoman hissed, shaking her head again. Her grip on the trident tightened. Use the old tongue, Salazar said. Not parcel tongue. The other one. Harry pulled a fragment of ancient speech from the shared memory. Water words. Respect words. He spoke them, bubbles streaming from his mouth in careful shapes. He told the mare people that he was the heir of the one who had bound the lake centuries ago. He told them that their duty was to guard, not to drown. He told them that the foreign crowd above wanted a show, not corpses. The marewoman stared at him. Her eyes narrowed. Behind her, a larger merman swam closer. His hair floated around his head in a gray cloud. He studied Harry with slow, sharp attention. You sound like the one from the first building, the merman thought. The old one. Salazar sighed in Harry's head. That would be me, he said. The merman gave a short, sharp nod. He struck the stone pillar with his trident. The ropes shimmered and loosened. You may free them, he said, thoughts thick but clear. We will say you forced us. Harry cut Ron rope first, then Hermione, then the other 2. He checked their faces, watched their chests. All breathed slow and strange. He could not carry 4 people alone at speed. He did not need to. He jerked his chin toward Cedric and Crumb as they arrived, late and wary. He pointed at the freed hostages and then at the surface. They understood. Together they hauled everyone up in a messy tangle of limbs and bubbles. When Harry broke the surface, the crowd roared. The judges argued. Bagmen shouted about time. The mare people stayed under the water, invisible, and let the humans fuss. Fleur sobbed when she saw her sister safe. Hermione coughed and jostled Harry's shoulder with her own on the shore. Ron shouted at him for being stupid and brave in the same breath. Harry sat on the wet grass, water pouring from his hair and robes, and watched the judges. He had not given them the story they wanted. No frantic race against time. No champion abandoning strangers to save only their own. Instead, all 4 hostages were safe on the bank, wrapped in towels. Madame Maxime watched him with cool new interest. Karkaroff looked furious. Dumbledore stared at the lake with troubled eyes. Fudge muttered about rules under his breath. Good, Salazar said. Let them choke on generosity used as a weapon. The third task was a maze. High hedges rose on the Quidditch pitch, tall and thick and full of spells. The air smelled of cut grass and damp earth. Flags flapped from the stands. The sky above was clear, sharp with stars. Harry stood with the other champions at the entrance. He had already placed his runes hours before, pressed into the ground outside the hedges where no one would notice. Simple marks that whispered direction back to him through his wand. This time he did not want to show off. He wanted to finish. He wanted to see who had built the trap on the far side. Salazar wrapped around his thoughts like armor. Remember, Salazar said, his tone calm. We know his magic now. The cup will carry you to him. You cannot stop that. You can decide what you do when you arrive. Harry nodded once. The cannon sounded. He moved the instant the path opened. The hedges loomed on both sides, leaves rustling with hidden charms. Whispers swam through the air. Fear. Tickling hexes. Wandering lights. He ignored them. His wand tugged gently in his hand, pulled by the tracking runes outside. Every junction came as no surprise. He took turns before he saw them, saving seconds each time. Cedric crossed his path once, face set, breathing hard. They nodded at each other and split again. A blast ended somewhere to his right. Fleur screamed. The sound cut off. Harry felt anger flare in his chest. Whoever had set this maze had been willing to let anyone fall. Not this time, Harry thought. He stunned creatures instead of dodging them. He blew apart thick webs rather than wasting time. He ignored the singing mist and the false images of his friends in danger. Every trick made him colder. When he reached the center, the air felt wrong. The cup sat on a low plinth, shining. Light from it pulsed in slow beats. He could feel the pull of the portkey charm tied to it. It smelled in his mind like grave dirt and snake venom and the diary all over again. Cedric came into the clearing from the other side at the same moment. They both stopped. For a second they just stared at each other. Both tired. Both bruised. Both very aware of the cup between them. "You take it," Cedric said, breath rough. "You got here first." Harry shook his head. "No," he said. "We take it together." Cedric frowned. "That is not how it works," Cedric said. Harry stepped closer to the cup but did not touch it. "Think about it," Harry said. "This entire thing has been twisted once already. My name forced in. The tests shaped to make us look a certain way. If one of us wins alone, they get to write the story however they like. If we reach together, the story changes." Cedric hesitated. He thought of Hufflepuff pride, of his house watching from the stands, of his father in the crowd. Harry felt it all in the edge of his mind. "You earned this just as much as I did," Harry said quietly. "I will not take that from you, but I will not let them turn me into a trophy either. So we share it. We walk out side by side and ruin their script." Cedric let out a short laugh that sounded half like a sob. "You are mad," he said. "Probably," Harry said. Cedric looked at the cup, then at Harry, then at the sky. He took a deep breath and nodded. "All right," Cedric said. "On 3, they stepped up to the plinth. The magic in the cup hummed louder, aware of them both. 1, Harry said. 2, Cedric said. They both grabbed the cup at the same time. The world yanked away. The portkey pull hit like a hook in the chest. Colors smeared. The maze vanished. The shouts of the crowd cut off as if someone had slammed a door. They landed hard on cold ground. Graves rose around them in the dim light of a thin moon. A church tower loomed in the distance. The air smelled of damp dirt and old stone and something thin and hungry. Cedric staggered. "Where are we?" he asked. "Trap," Harry said. A squat figure stepped from behind a grave. Wormtail. His mind burned with fear and hope and a sick joy. He held something small and bundled in his arms. Salazar went still and sharp in Harry's head. "There," he said. The bundle moved. A thin, high voice spoke. "Kill the spare." The curse hit Cedric before Harry could twist. Green light, a dull thud, a body on cold ground. Anger and grief punched through Harry so hard he choked. "You cannot help him now," Salazar said harshly. "Move." Wormtail pointed his wand. Ropes bit into Harry's arms and chest, pulling him against a stone. Cold bindings cut skin. A heavy cauldron sat nearby, full of dark liquid. The ritual went on. Bone, flesh, blood, screams, smoke. Harry watched. He memorized every word, every gesture, every tremor in Wormtail hands, every shiver in the small twisted body in the cauldron. When the thing that had been Riddle rose from the steam, pale and tall and snake-eyed, Harry felt no awe, only a cold, clear hate. Voldemort called his followers. Masks appeared in a circle. Knees bent. Voices shook. He monologued. He taunted. He called Harry forward by ripping the ropes away with a lazy flick. "You stand on the bones of my father," Voldemort said. "You stand at the start of a new world." Harry did not answer. His mind ticked through everything he had seen. The Horcrux soul in the diary. The echo in his scar. The magic that had forced his name into the goblet. The ritual that had tied Voldemort's new body to his blood. "You cannot kill him here," Salazar said. "The anchors still exist. But you can mark him. You can make him fear you." Harry lifted his wand. Voldemort raised his own. They bowed because the ritual demanded it. Harry straightened first. "Expelliarmus," he shouted. "Avada Kedavra." Voldemort hissed. The spells met in midair. Light locked. Magic snarled. The wand cores linked. The graveyard filled with bright sound. Harry felt the connection slam open between them. Minds brushed. For a second he saw the inside of Voldemort thoughts. Rage. Obsession. A deep pure fear of death that overrode everything else. You are not death, Harry thought. You are a child who never grew up. He pushed. Not with a spell. With his mind. He slammed Salazar's full ancient awareness down the connection like a hammer. Memories burst across the link. Vaults of old Hogwarts. The first laying of the foundations of the chamber. The taste of real basilisk venom. Coils of magic thick as walls. The weight of being a founder who had built houses from raw will. Voldemort jerked. For the first time, real shock crossed his face. What are you? Voldemort whispered. Harry smiled, small and sharp. Yours, he said, and let disgust fill the word. Done properly, the pressure broke. The wands blasted apart, throwing them both back. Masks shouted. Curse light burst from every side. Harry rolled behind a large headstone. Spells smashed into stone and dirt. Dust filled the air. He grabbed Cedric's body with a jerk of his wand and hauled it close. He kicked the cup with his heel, dragging it near. Bind it, Salazar snapped. Now. Harry slammed his wand against the portkey and spat the same binding word Dumbledore's magic had used when he set the cup. For a breath, the cup burned hot under his hand. Then it took his mark. He wrapped one hand around Cedric's arm and grabbed the cup with the other. See you soon, he shouted toward the circle. Try not to die of fear before then. The portkey yanked them away. The return to the maze came with screams and bright light. Harry landed on the grass of the pitch with Cedric's body beside him. The stands exploded with noise. Some people cheered. Others shrieked when they saw the body. Dumbledore was first to reach them. His face went ashen. McGonagall clapped a hand over her mouth. Fudge blustered. Madame Pomfrey rushed to Cedric. One look at his still face and empty eyes told her enough. Harry lay on his back for a second, chest heaving, staring at the night sky. His lungs hurt. His scar burned. His hands shook. In his mind, Salazar sat calm and cold, taking stock. We have marked him, Salazar said. He knows he faces more than a scar. That will matter later. Harry pushed himself up. Voldemort is back, he said, voice raw. He used the cup. He killed Cedric. He is back. The words fell into the panic like stones. Some people believed at once. Others did not. Fudge shouted that it was nonsense, that the boy was confused, hurt, lying. Karkaroff slipped away in the chaos. The foreign students stared at Harry with wide eyes. The international stage you wanted, Salazar said quietly. You showed your power. Now watch them twist. Harry watched the judges argue and realized Salazar was right. He had turned the tasks into a demonstration. He had faced dragons and water and a living maze with careful planning and old magic. He had walked out of a graveyard where another boy had died and still spoken Voldemort's name. Yet already the story was sliding from his hands. Politicians hated stories they did not write. The hospital wing was quiet hours later. Cedric's body had been taken away. Fudge had gone, furious and white-faced. Dumbledore had stalked off to his office with his jaw set and his hands clenched. Only a few beds held patients now. Harry. Crumb with a bandage on his arm. Fleur's sister asleep under a neat stack of blankets. Ron sat on the chair beside Harry's bed. His hair stuck up at odd angles. His eyes were red. Hermione had left to fetch something for Madame Pomfrey. Ginny had been forced back to her dorm by McGonagall with a firm hand on her shoulder and a promise that she could visit in the morning. The lamps burned low. Shadows pooled around the beds. The rain tapped on the windows. Ron picked at a loose thread on his jumper for a while. You were amazing out there, Ron said at last, voice dull. All 3 tests. Clever. Fast. Like you knew what would happen. Harry stared at the ceiling. His body ached in deep, slow pulses. He could still feel the grave dirt under his nails. I prepared, Harry said. Ron laughed once, short and sharp. Prepared, he repeated. You make that sound like you revised for a test. Harry turned his head. In a way I did, he said. I knew the cup was twisted. I knew he would use it. I knew I would have one chance to look at him without him expecting me to be anything except a scared boy on the ground. Ron flinched. Harry, Ron said. He killed Cedric. He tried to kill you. You talk like it was a plan. It was, Harry said. Ron stared at him. That is mental, Ron snapped. Normal people do not plan to face him. They run. They hide. They do not walk into graveyards on purpose just so they can get a better view. Harry felt something tight coil in his chest. Normal people die, Harry said quietly. Cedric was normal. He trusted the rules. He trusted the cup. He is dead. Ron's face twisted. That is not fair, Ron said. He did not deserve that. No, Harry said. He did not. That is the point. He played by the story they gave him. Brave champion. Honest winner. The world killed him anyway. Ron clenched his hands. So what? Ron demanded. You decide you will never be like him. That you will never trust anyone. That you will turn everything into a move on a board. Harry thought of the dragon fire bending around his shield. Of the merpeople letting him free more than one hostage. Of Cedric's hand in his as they grabbed the cup together. I decide I will not die just to make Dumbledore plans neat, Harry said. Ron blinked. What is that meant to mean? Ron asked. Harry closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. It means I know he is willing to use me as a symbol, Harry said. The boy who lived. The champion. The sacrifice. He will dress it up as choice. He will say it is the only way. I am telling you I will not walk to my death because it suits his song. Ron swallowed. He cares about you, Ron said automatically. Harry gave him a flat look. He cares about the world he wants, Harry said. I happen to be useful in building it. Ron stared at him, hurt and confused. This is not you, Ron said. You are the one who jumped on a broom to chase my sister back from a giant snake. You are the one who went after Sirius for me. You are the one who threw yourself at Dementors on a lake. That was you. Mad and brave and stupid and kind. I am still that person, Harry said. Ron shook his head. No, Ron said. You feel different, colder, like you are watching from outside, like everybody is a piece in your plan. Even me. Harry flinched at that. I pulled you from that lake, Harry said. You were a hostage today. You think that was a piece. I risked all of us to drag everyone up together. You did that because it made a point. Ron shot back. You wanted to show off, to make the judges look stupid, to twist the rules. You liked it. You liked controlling the story. Salazar stayed silent. He let the words land. Harry breathed out slowly. Both things can be true, Harry said. I wanted you safe. I wanted Cedric safe. I also wanted to prove that their game only works if we agree to play it. Ron pressed his fingers to his forehead. You are talking like Percy, Ron muttered. Politics and control and all that. I just see my friend who nearly died 3 times today telling me he meant to do it. Harry reached out and grabbed Ron's sleeve. I meant to survive it, Harry said. That is the difference. Ron looked at his hand, then at his face. And if surviving means leaving people behind? Ron asked, voice low. Then I find another way, Harry said at once. That is the entire point. I will not accept choices that say save one or lose all. I will break them every time I can. Ron stared at him for a long moment. You really think you can do that? Ron said. All the time. For years. Against him. Against the ministry. Against Dumbledore even. You think you can keep this up without losing yourself? Harry thought of Ginny in the corridor after his deal with Snape. Her hand firm on his sleeve as she made him promise not to turn into a stranger. He thought of the look on Cedric's face before they grabbed the cup. He thought of the way Ron and Hermione had stood on either side of his bed after the first time he had nearly died at Hogwarts. He thought of the serpent mark on his forehead and the old mind that shared his skull. I have to, Harry said simply. Ron laughed. A broken sound. That is not an answer, Ron said. It is the only one I have, Harry said. For a while they sat in silence. The clock on the far wall ticked. Pomfrey murmured to Crumb in the next bed. At last Ron spoke again, voice small. I do not know if I can follow you, Ron said. Not like this. You scare me a bit, mate. It feels like I am walking next to something sharp all the time. Harry's grip on his sleeve tightened. I do not need you to agree with every choice I make, Harry said. I need you to tell me when I start to sound like him. Ron's eyes widened. You want me to shout at you when you go too far, Ron said. Yes, Harry said. Ron let out a breath. You are an idiot, Ron said softly. But you are my idiot. He pulled his sleeve free and then reached out to punch Harry lightly on the shoulder. I am not leaving, Ron added. I am just saying I miss the days when our biggest problem was a giant chess piece. Harry smiled, small and tired. I do too, he said. Ron slumped back in his chair. You know Hermione is going to squeeze you to death when she gets back, Ron said. Ginny will yell at you. Mum will send enough jumpers to smother you. I will take it, Harry said. Ron nodded. Good, Ron said. Because if you start talking about political utility at breakfast again, I am throwing porridge at you. Harry laughed, the sound quiet but real. Deal, he said. The word hung between them, simple and human. In a room that had seen too much blood and pain for one night. Outside, the rain kept falling on the castle that held them. Inside, a boy with two souls chose a path that valued power and survival, and a friend who still saw the old boy under the new layers chose to stay next to him anyway, even while he was afraid. The new defense teacher coughed in the middle of Dumbledore's speech. It was not loud. It was sharp and fake and cut across the great hall like a spell. Every head turned toward the short woman in pink. Harry felt the room shift. Benches creaked. A few first-years flinched. Ron made a face at his plate. Hermione stopped her note-taking in mid-word. Ginny, halfway through a joke with Neville, went still and watched. On the staff table, Dumbledore paused. The light in his eyes cooled a little. Thank you, Professor Umbridge, he said. Dolores Umbridge smiled. It was the kind of smile that did not touch her eyes. She pushed herself to her feet, hands resting on the table for balance. Her cardigan was a flat pink. Her bow was neater than a dress robe lace. Harry let his eyes half close. He stopped focusing on her face and listened under the skin instead. Thoughts rolled off her in small neat lines. The minister knows best. Children must be kept quiet. No talk of that man. No talk of lies. She enjoyed this. He felt the small flicker of satisfaction in her chest. She was proud to be here. Proud to have slipped through the door Dumbledore had tried to hold shut. Good evening, children, she said in a sweet voice. And good evening, headmaster. Such a lovely school. Such a shame the ministry has had to step in. A ripple of murmurs went down the tables. Harry registered the minds at the staff table as she spoke. McGonagall's fury was a sharp, cold weight under a rigid spine. Her thoughts were tight. Interference. Children are not pawns. Snape sat very still. His mind felt like a stone room with the door just barely open. Harry caught a glimmer of something under the blank surface. Wariness. Annoyance. A hard flicker of interest when Umbridge said the word ministry. Dumbledore watched Umbridge with a pleasant expression. Behind his gaze, worry and calculation moved fast. Harry felt none of that in Umbridge. Her thoughts were simple. She trusted the minister. She hated disruptions. She thought of Hogwarts as a noisy house that needed a firm hand and no shouting about Dark Lords. Progress, Umbridge was saying, must be carefully managed. We do not want to frighten young minds with talk of things that are not, in fact, happening at all. Harry knew exactly what she meant. His scar prickled. Ginny leaned closer on the bench. She sounds like Aunt Muriel, she muttered. If Aunt Muriel worked for a Dark Lord. Harry huffed a breath that might have been a laugh. Umbridge kept talking. The speech slid from the history of the ministry to soft insults aimed at Dumbledore and his teaching style. Harry did not bother to follow every word. He caught enough. No need for practical defense. No need for ugly spells in the classroom. They would study theory. Trust the ministry to keep them safe. Beside him, Hermione made a small choking sound. She cannot refuse to teach us spells, Hermione whispered. It is defense. It is in the name. There must be some rule. Harry wanted to say there were rules about not torturing students as well, but that had never stopped people who liked power. He watched Dumbledore instead. The headmaster did not interrupt Umbridge. He let her talk until she sat down again with a small sigh of satisfaction. Applause started in random clumps, then died fast. Harry noticed which students clapped longest. A knot of Slytherins at their table. A few scared-looking younger children who followed any lead. He felt their thoughts as well. Finally, someone will shut Potter up. If there is no Dark Lord, I can stop being afraid. If the Ministry says it, it must be true. Ginny tapped her finger against the table in a tense rhythm. This year is going to be fun, she muttered. And by fun I mean I want to hex her shoes to bite her ankles. Harry smiled without humor. We will see, he said. Salazar spoke from his place in Harry's mind, voice quiet and dry. She is small, but she carries weight, he said. She is not the danger on her own. She is a herald. For fudge, Harry thought back. For the part of the Ministry that would rather pretend the world is quiet than admit a storm is coming, Salazar said. Harry breathed in the smell of roast meat and candle smoke and nervous sweat. He felt the whole castle lean toward a fight that most of them did not see yet. He did. He would not let them sleep through it. The first defense lesson of the year made things very clear. Harry arrived with Ron and Hermione a little early. Ginny slid into a seat a row behind them with Neville at her side. The classroom smelled of chalk and dust. The desks were lined up in strict rows. Every book sat in the middle of the table, spines straight. Umbridge stood at the front, cardigan smooth, quill and parchment ready. No wand in sight. The moment the bell rang, she clapped her hands. Wands away, she said with a little smile. Books open. Hermione's hand went up at once. Yes, Miss Granger, Umbridge said. Professor, Hermione said, voice strained polite. I was wondering when we would begin actual spell work. We are due to sit examinations this year. Umbridge's smile did not move. You will sit them when the Ministry deems it safe, she said. And you will be more than prepared with a proper understanding of theory. Harry let his passive legitimacy reach out again. Umbridge's thoughts were firm. No practical defense. No talk of attacks. No mention of the graveyard. She had a script and she would stick to it. The minister had been very clear. Harry raised his own hand. Umbridge's gaze flicked to him. A little spark of pleasure touched her mind. She had been waiting for this. Yes, Mr. Potter, she said. Harry kept his tone mild. If we are never going to cast spells in class, he said. Do you expect us to defend ourselves by reading to the Dementors? A few students snorted. Umbridge's eyes went flat. There are no Dementors in your world, Mr. Potter, she said sweetly. There are guards at Azkaban. They are under Ministry control. You are a child. You will let your elders protect you. Harry let the memory of the lake wash up just enough to color his voice. The last time I saw Dementors, he said, they were not guarding anything. They were trying to suck my soul out on a school field. Ron muttered. Too right. Umbridge's smile sharpened. Points from Gryffindor, she said. You will not spread lies in my classroom. The Ministry has stated clearly that he who must not be named has not returned. You will not contradict the Ministry in this school. Harry's jaw tightened. He felt his scar prickle. There it was. Out loud. Hermione hissed a breath. Ginny clutched her quill so hard the wood creaked. Harry spoke slowly. I saw him, he said. He killed Cedric Diggory in front of me. He cast the curse himself. He called his followers. He stood in a graveyard with a wand in his hand and laughed when he tried to kill me again. That is not a lie. Murmurs rippled through the room. Some students believed him at once. Others swallowed and looked away. A few Slytherins rolled their eyes and smirked. Umbridge's mind tightened like a knot. You poor deluded child, she thought. You are broken. You are dangerous. Out loud she said, You are confused, Mr. Potter. Traumatic experiences can produce fantasies. The minister understands this. He wishes you well. Harry almost laughed at that. Does he? Harry said. Is that why he sent you to stop anyone talking about it? The room went very still. Umbridge gave him a look that was almost pity. Detention, Mr. Potter, she said in a sweet voice. Tonight. My office. We will see if a little discipline can help you separate truth from childish stories. Harry met her eyes. He did not look away. Salazar's voice slid into the back of his mind. Let her have this, Salazar said. We cannot uproot a weed without showing how deep its roots run. Harry lowered his hand. All right, he said. Umbridge smiled again. Good, she said. Now, children, please copy the first 3 chapters by hand. No talking. Quills scratched. Chairs creaked. The clock ticked. Harry copied nothing. His hand moved and his mind ran ahead. Not on the dry text in the book, but on the woman at the front of the room and the man who had sent her. Umbridge's office reeked of tea and something sweet. The walls were covered in plates with painted kittens that mewed and swished their tails. There was lace over everything that would hold lace. A tray of biscuits sat untouched on the desk. Harry walked in at 7 exactly. His hand was steady on the handle. His scar was quiet. Umbridge sat behind the desk, quill already in her short fingers. The quill was black, thin and wrong. It hummed with a faint sort of hunger that Harry felt even before he touched it. Sit down, Mr. Potter, she said. He sat. The chair was hard. His back stayed straight. He kept his bag at his feet and his wand within reach inside his sleeve. Umbridge folded her hands. It is a shame, really, she said. You are a bright boy, famous. You might have done very well if you had not let yourself be drawn into Headmaster Dumbledore's fantasies. Harry watched her. You call what happened to Cedric a fantasy, he said. Umbridge's eyes cooled. A tragic accident, she said. The boy tripped. The old curses around that cup are very unstable. It was a sad loss. Nothing more. Liar, Harry thought. He reached. This time he did not stay at the surface. Salazar guided his focus, thin and sharp. He brushed along Umbridge's thoughts. He saw her in Fudge's office, nodding while the minister paced. He watched Fudge rant about Dumbledore stealing his power with talk of war. He saw Umbridge lean in and whisper that the school could be brought to heel. All it would take was a rule or two, a little control. He pulled back before she felt the touch. She smiled at him. We are going to do some writing tonight, she said. You will write. I must not tell lies. You will keep writing until the message sinks in. She held out the quill. Harry took it. The shaft was smooth and cold. There was no ink bottle. He knew what that meant. He had seen cursed items before. He did not need Salazar to tell him that this was one. He placed the quill on the parchment. He wrote, I must not tell lies. Pain lanced across the back of his hand. Sharp, burning. He sucked in a breath. He watched a thin red line appear on his skin where the letters formed, each word carved into flesh. No ink stained the page. The words appeared in his own blood. Umbridge watched his face with bright interest. Continue, she said. Harry met her gaze. Then he bent his head and wrote again. I must not tell lies. The cut deepened. Blood welled and vanished into the quill. His skin burned. He wrote again. Salazar was quiet. He did not tell Harry to stop. He did not tell him to push his way out. He watched the way a chess master watched a risky opening. Harry wrote the line a third time. The pain spread up his arm. His teeth clenched. Sweat prickled at his hairline. He wrote a fourth line. Then he changed the fifth. Very slowly he wrote, I will not be quiet. The quill bit deep. The cut flared bright red. Umbridge's eyes narrowed. That is not the line, Mr. Potter, she said. Harry looked up. His hand throbbed. I know, he said. You told me to keep writing until the message sinks in. That one seems clearer. Umbridge's smile thinned. Write the proper sentence, she said. Unless you would like an extra night. Harry dropped his gaze back to the parchment. He wrote the required line again, and again, and again. Every stroke carved the words into his skin. The pain became a steady throb. His fingers cramped. His pulse pounded in his ears. He did not cry out. He did not ask to stop. He counted instead. Not the lines. The seconds between each pass of the quill and each healing itch as the skin closed and cut again. He counted breaths. He tracked Umbridge's thoughts and the little spikes of satisfaction every time he flinched. She likes this, Salazar said. I know, Harry thought back. Not just because it hurts you, Salazar went on. Because she believes pain will rewrite the mind. She thinks if she scratches the words into your skin, they will hold your tongue. She is wrong, Harry thought. Yes, Salazar said. That is what we will show them. After more than an hour, Umbridge finally glanced at the clock. That will do, she said. We will meet again tomorrow. Same time. Bring nothing. Harry set the quill down. His hand shook once before he forced it still. He rose without leaning on the desk. As he reached the door, Umbridge spoke again. No one will believe you, she said in a mild tone. Even if you tell them. This is discipline. Nothing more. Harry looked back. They believed me about the basilisk, he said. Eventually, he walked out before she could answer. His hand was a mess by the time he reached the common room. The cuts had closed, but the skin was red and swollen. The words had sunk deep enough that they showed faintly even when the blood stopped. Ginny saw it first. She was in an armchair near the fire with a book open on her lap. The moment he came through the portrait hole, she shut the book and stood. Ron and Hermione were at a table nearby, parchment and quills spread out. Hermione looked up when Ginny did. Harry, Ginny said. Show me. He did not pretend he did not know what she meant. He crossed the room and held out his hand. Her fingers touched his wrist, gentle. She turned his hand palm down. Her jaw went tight when she saw the words. I must not tell lies, she read, voice flat. Ron swore. Hermione let out a sharp breath. That is blood magic, Hermione said. On a student. That quill is illegal. Harry nodded once. Yeah, he said. He sat down hard in the nearest chair. His whole arm throbbed now that he stopped bracing. The warmth of the fire made the pain itch and burn at the same time. Ginny perched on the arm of his chair, still holding his wrist. How many lines? She asked. He thought about lying. Then he remembered who he was speaking to. Enough, he said. More than 50. Less than 100. I stopped counting at the part where I changed the sentence. You did what? Hermione demanded. He told them. Quietly. Carefully. He left out Umbridge's private thoughts and Fudge's office, but he told them about the quill and the words and the way she looked at him while he bled on the page. Hermione shook with anger. She cannot do that, Hermione said. She is doing it, Ron snapped. And the ministry sent her, so they will back her. Harry looked at the fire. We will not go to the ministry, he said. Hermione stared at him. What? She said. Harry, this is exactly the kind of thing the Department of Magical Law should hear about. The department answers to Fudge, Harry said. Fudge sent her here to shut me up. He thinks I am a threat. He thinks Dumbledore is building me into a weapon against him. If we complain to his people, they will bury it and make Umbridge feel untouchable. Ginny nodded slowly. He is right, she said. Dad talks about this. When the minister wants something hidden, it vanishes. Files fall down the back of drawers. Hermione pressed her lips together. So we do nothing, she said. No, Harry said. He looked at his hand again. The letters burned faint pink in the firelight. We get proof, he said. Not just my word. We get something they cannot laugh off as trauma or attention-seeking. We get it in front of people who are not in Fudge's pocket. Ron frowned. How? Ron asked. She did not even have ink. There is nothing to show. Harry flexed his fingers. Not yet, he said. Salazar spoke up, amused. You remember the binding circle in the chamber, he said. The one that recorded any spell cast inside it. Yes, Harry thought. The same principle will work here, Salazar said. The quill drinks your blood. It does not vanish. It goes somewhere. Everything leaves a trail. Harry looked up at his friends. My blood is in that quill now, he said. She will use it on other students. That means the curse will touch them through something that already knows me. I can use that. I can mark it. Next time she calls me in, I mark the spell that feeds it. Then I pull that mark out in front of everyone. Hermione stared at him in a mix of horror and reluctant interest. You want to anchor a trace in someone else's curse, she said. Yes, Harry said. That is incredibly dangerous, she said. Yes, Harry said again. Ginny squeezed his wrist. And very you, she said quietly. Ron scrubbed his hands over his face. I hate this, Ron said. I hate that this is normal now. I hate that we are sitting here discussing blood curses like homework. Harry's throat felt tight for a second. Me too, he said. Ginny let go of his wrist and stood. You need that cleaned, she said. Madame Pomfrey will ask questions. So we do it ourselves. Hermione, go get water. Ron, pinch something decent out of Fred and George's stash for Payne. Harry, you sit there and do what you are told for once. Her voice left no room for argument. Hermione moved at once. Ron grumbled but headed toward the stairs. Harry leaned back in the chair and closed his eyes for a moment. He felt tired all the way down to his bones. Salazar watched the three of them move with a strange, quiet approval. Your allies chose themselves, Salazar said. That is the only kind that lasts. Snape said nothing when Harry showed him his hand. He just closed the office door with a soft click and took Harry's wrist in a cool grip. Harry sat in the same chair as before, the one he had occupied when Snape had ripped into his mind. The room smelled of herbs and smoke and something metallic. Bottles shone on the shelves. A cauldron simmered by the wall. Snape studied the faint pink letters on the back of Harry's hand. He traced one with a finger and watched the way Harry flinched. Then he let go. They did not heal clean, Snape said. No, Harry said. I cleaned them myself. No trophies. Snape's mouth twitched in a way that was not quite a smile. Of course not, he said. He turned away and pulled a small jar from a shelf. This will ease the pain, he said. It will not remove the mark entirely, which may be useful. Harry nodded. He let Snape smear the salve over his skin. Felt cool and stung a little. The ache eased slowly. You know what she used, Harry said. Snape nodded once. A variant of a blood quill, Snape said. I have seen them before. Only in old cases. They were banned for use on children long before your parents were born. Fudge knows she is using it, Harry said. Snape's jaw tightened. Of course he knows, Snape said. He signed the letter that granted her authority to use whatever means she deemed necessary to curb disturbances. Harry felt his anger shift from a hot burn to a cold one. You saw the letter, Harry said. I drafted the potion that sealed it, Snape said. His undersecretary does not know how to tie a quill to a binding charm. She only knows how to smile and nod. Harry let that sink in. Snape finished bandaging his hand and stepped back. What plan is forming in that overworked brain of yours? Snape asked. Harry met his eyes. You have my memories from the graveyard, Harry said. Snape's gaze went sharp. Yes, Snape said. You forced them down my throat during our last little duel. You saw the ritual, Harry said. You saw the way he used my blood to anchor his new body. You know what it looks like when a curse drinks from someone and keeps the taste. Snape's eyes narrowed. You want to twist her quill into an anchor, Snape said slowly. Tie it to something you can pull later.